and welcome to Fresh Faced Comics, the comic book podcast where a lifelong comic book reader guides us through the world of comics for the first time. My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me as always is Jacob Licklider, the aforementioned newbie.
If I had a nickel for every time in 2004 that one of the big two comic companies brought back a long-dead kid sidekick and made him a villain, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's really weird that it happened twice in the same year.
I both loved and hated that bit so much. Jacob is absolutely correct. We're here to talk some Captain America today, which has nothing to do with that opening bit. But to join us here to talk about Captain America Winter Soldier, we have a guest joining us today. Welcome, new guest to the podcast, Kestrel.
Hi. I need you all to know you can't see me, but I did just wave.
I believe you. I believe you. Kestrel being a friend of Jacob's, who is just a big fan of Bucky Barnes, I understand. I'm very excited to talk about this with both of you.
It's a terrible problem of half of my friends, any of my friends who like comics are Marvel fans.
Yes, there's a reason that most of our Marvel episodes have had guests on them. So it's just a thing that people. It's an area of comics that most people want to be on, and that's understandable. But that just means that I get to sit in solos with my Batman comics every single day, and that's nice. I
also really enjoy Watchmen.
Watchmen is great. Gotta love some Watchmen. But yeah.
Anyway.
Sort of jumping into this though, with our non-spoiler section first, as always. Before we get to talk about the actual story, Jacob, what is your history with Captain America as a character going in?
So, I had seen Winter Soldier and Civil War, the films, in theaters.
You had not seen the first Avenger?
No, I caught it on, I want to say it was on Netflix when I first watched it.
I believe there was a time when it was on Netflix. Yeah, that sounds right.
I was going to say, because I think it was one that was originally funded by Paramount. I
believe that is in that weird Phase 1 pre-Disney era, yeah.
So I was aware of both who Captain America was. I was aware of who Bucky Barnes was, kind of. Outside of I then didn't realize he was a literal child in the comics originally.
You didn't know this. Okay.
I wasn't aware of this.
So you didn't know this before you started reading this comic today?
No, I knew it. I knew it by that point. But by the time we write comics, but like, I was very much aware of Captain America being kind of the outlier for Marvel characters because he was created in the 30s or maybe for early 40s because he was created,
40s.
to say fuck Nazis.
Yeah, you gotta say fuck Nazis, obviously. More than ever, I would say. Okay. So that being your history with Captain America, I think it is important to note that although we are in the non-spoiler section, as always, there's a certain twist in this book that literally everyone listening to this episode is already aware of.
It's the hard part of like, I don't know, can I reveal this twist? Because it's...
I think you're legally allowed to say the twist. I think
I'm going to say it. Ed Brubaker doesn't hide it as a twist. Like it's
totally. I agree. I would say also, if I'm remembering correctly, back on our Under the Red Hood episode, I don't think we hid the Jason Todd thing either. Way back when,
which is interesting because there's a larger argument to be made that Judd Winnick was hiding the identity of Red Hood as Jason.
Judd Winnick was absolutely hiding the identity. Yeah, totally. But yeah, no. So obviously, for those listening, Bucky Barnes is the Winter Soldier. Shock, I know. So I'd like to toss it over to our guest now, Kestrel, being a big fan of the Winter Soldier and Bucky Barnes as a character. What is your history with this character? Where did the love begin, I suppose?
Oh boy. So this is going to sound insane. So my first ever Marvel movie was Captain America Civil War.
Wow. Okay.
I love that. It's kind of a story because so I didn't want to go to my junior prom, and a bunch of my friends who were already obsessed with Marvel were like, hey, we're going to go see Captain America Civil War at the outdoor. Do you want to come that night? So I was like, yeah, sure. 2 hours later, I have no idea what I have just witnessed.
A bit of a mess? Because that movie's kind of a mess.
100%.
It's kind of a mess, but I can't not have a soft spot for it. I hate that I have to have a soft spot for 2 movies directed by the Russo brothers, but I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
It's unfortunate.
But so I remember coming home and my parents were like, "How was it?" And I'm like, "I don't know, my friends liked it." My introduction to Star Wars was even worse. It was The Last Jedi.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, so I'm gonna say The Last Jedi is a brilliant film.
It is. I don't think it could really be your first Star Wars film.
I don't think it can. No.
Yeah. I enjoyed The Last Jedi. I just didn't know what the hell was going on the entire time. My friend wanted to see it. I didn't get to see my friend a lot, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll go with you. I don't care what movie we're seeing. I just want to hang out." And then literally 5 minutes into the movie, I lean over, I'm like, "That's Kylo Ren, right?" And she's like, "Oh my god, Kestrel."
That's amazing. Oh my god.
But back to Marvel. So after that, I was like bound and determined to figure out what the hell was going on. I wanted to figure it out because I was like, I don't know who the guy with the metal arm is. Foreshadowing is a literary device. And I can't even exactly pinpoint what exactly it is about Bucky that I just love. I think a lot of it too came from, and I know Jacob said we're not going to talk about this in this specific episode, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I think, is what did it for me, which is shocking because that's, really late in the Marvel timeline. But there was just a lot that really hit home there. And I was like, I'm in this picture and I don't like it, and not for the reasons that Marvel intended. And it's just kind of been that ever since. So, I don't know. I'm actually sitting here cuddling my Bucky stuffed animal as I am recording this. Oh.
Fantastic. I love it. And so I'm guessing this somehow led to an interest in the comics where he appeared, I'm assuming, and eventually this episode, obviously. Amazing.
Like, I knew a little bit. I knew about Brubaker's run, and if you're in the Bucky fandom at all, you know who Ed Brubaker is, and hallowed be his name because he brought back our boy. But like, I hadn't actually read it yet, so this was really exciting.
That's awesome. I love that. So, history with Captain America, history with Bucky Barnes, getting to actually where these episodes usually begin. Jacob, what is Captain America Winter Soldier about?
Well, it's kind of got the Marvel problem where we're starting in the middle of like bigger events going on, and you can really tell in places. Like, we did not read, because it's not included in most trades, so it's included in the Epic in a weird place, the House of M tie-in.
Yes, yeah, which is issue 10 of these first 14 issues. We're only covering 13 of those 14 issues because, yeah, issue 10 isn't really relevant to this particular story.
Is it even by Brubaker or is it by someone else?
I am not entirely sure, to be honest. I don't know.
No, it is by Brubaker. Brubaker was roped into a Marvel and their tie-ins. God damn it.
Gotta love it. I mean, to be fair, we're also recording this coming straight off of X-Men Hunt, which we unashamedly loved. So
yes, but also Marvel and their tie-ins. God damn it.
They're working on another one right now called Doomstrike.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
I don't know much about it. I just know that it's there, and Bucky's leading the Thunderbolts again because MCU synergy.
Classic.
But also, he got a really cool redesign, so I can't say I'm complaining.
But yeah, so we have other Marvel tie-in things happening, of course. But at its core, what is Captain America: Winter Soldier about?
In a way, Brubaker is kind of deconstructing we are post 9/11. What the fuck is even the point of Captain America at this point? Like, it's trying to. I don't think it quite comes to a conclusion because also this is very much the start of a run that I believe is a long one. It's quite long.
Jacob, this is essentially going to be our Jeff Johns Green Lantern of the Marvel books.
I mean,
this is going to be so fucking long. For reference, faithful listeners will know, we started Jeff Johns Green Lantern within the first 20 episodes of this podcast. We're still only just getting to like the last third of it.
I was going to say, we are only just now over halfway through that run, technically.
Yeah. So, So yeah, so starting another massive run like this, we need to take it in sort of bite-sized chunks. And I think you're absolutely right about Brubaker sort of deconstructing what Captain America represents in post 9/11 America. I think you're really going to start to see that in an arc called, and this is the name of the story, I can't really hide it. It's a story called The Death of Captain America. You're going to really start to see things regarding that there, especially considering it is a story about the fallout of another big Marvel story you might have heard of called Civil War.
Yeah, and I should also say, it's clear they had Well, I don't want to say they had Civil War on the cards. They knew there was going to be some big event coming. Because...
yes. I'm assuming you're specifically referring to the second to last issue of this trade, right?
Yeah, but also just the way this story ends... It doesn't end. It just kind of stops.
Well, that's fair. But we are also doing a second Captain America episode next time, which is kind of going to sort of. It's going to. I'll say this. There's some direct follow up to the last page of this book that I'm assuming you're also referring to right now.
And the fact that there's just. I can't say it entirely in non-spoilers. Where it leaves certain characters is particularly interesting. In terms of being I've got to completely pivot because an event is definitely coming within the next year, and I've got to try to get shit done for that.
And I'll say also, everything you're referring to right now, it'll all get followed up on in our next volume. But of course, then also we're still setting up. Device. What was that?
I said foreshadowing is a literary device.
Yeah, exactly, and so. And so, we're building up to other things, but that is what we have. That is what we're working with here. Let's get into some Blue Sky questions.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Let's start off on our friend Andrew at Andrew doing art.bluesky.social says, this story versus Under the Red Hood, which do you prefer? I think I personally, I swear, I do mean it when I say Under the Red Hood. I think I can enjoy that story a lot more on its own. And of course I have a natural sort of bias to Batman and Jason Todd and all those characters.
It's the hard part of... They're very close. They're both incredible. I think Red Hood slightly edges it out.
Yeah.
Partially again because Under the Red Hood actually ends in a... Under the Red Hood has an ending, whereas this doesn't. It really just stops. It's
I can agree with that.
Yeah. Kestrel, I don't know your familiarity with certain DC characters or anything, Kestrel, but do you have any familiarity with Under the Red Hood as a story, either comic-wise or the animated adaptation of it?
I mean, I know the basics. I know Jason Todd died and then he gets better. As comic book characters are
doing. That is true.
Gets better.
Depending on what version of the story you do, there are drastically different ways in which he does get better. And my God, the comic one is hilarious.
The comic one has the Joker become the UN ambassador to Iran in 1988.
I was more referring to a version of Superboy punching a hole in the universe.
Oh yeah, that does happen.
Whereas I think the animated film...
The only run that I know even a little bit about in DC is Injustice, where Superman punches a hole through Joker. So
that is true as well. That is true as well. That is a thing that happens. And honestly, actually a really good comic until Tom Taylor leaves. Anyway, Andrew's second question says, do you plan on covering the Jeff Lowe Tim Sale color line in Marvel Comics? Captain America White, Spider-Man Blue, etc. Andrew, I will say you got my number. Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm not going to say when or how or when or how or why or whatever. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Absolutely.
I mean, you have up to episode 140 of this podcast locked down.
Yes, as I did recently say on Blue Sky. Yeah, episode 140 is planned up to.
And I know none of it. I have guesses.
I'm sure you have some pretty good guesses. You have a solid idea of things, but I did also say there are a lot of new things in there. So
you know me. I don't have Marvel guesses.
I think most of the new things were starting within those the next 50 odd episodes. Most of the new things are Marvel things, so there's that. Next, coming from our friend Jamie at Jamie-season7.bluesky.social says, "Who the hell is Bucky? Who the hell is Bucky?" Is the question, I suppose. As if we didn't already spoil everything about Bucky Barnes. But again, it's something that I'm sure everyone already knows that is listening to this episode. If you didn't, I apologize. But again, also ridiculously popular character in a ridiculously popular film franchise. So there's that. Our next set of questions comes from our friend Kian. Comes from Kian at KianTheQuark.BlueSky.social. Says, yes, the Winter Soldier, Binky Barnes. Kian, you're starting to make less and less sense as time goes on in these Q&As, and I don't even know what to say at this point.
I think we just need to. One of these days, we're going to have to do a wellness check on that weirdo. Like,
I think that is especially relevant to. Okay, so let's explain the bit. So Kestrel. So, are you at all familiar?
Kestrel's aware of Doctor Who.
I was about to say, you're familiar with the TV
I am
show,
aware of Doctor Who. Believe me.
The television show Doctor Who.
So get back into it.
What our friend Kian does is he likes to, when we do these Q&As, do this bit where he submits a picture of a Doctor Who character and put the name of a character.
It's just like a thing.
Yes, and coupled with the caption of the name of a character that we're covering within the book that we're doing a Q&A for. In this case, it says Captain America ? With a picture of, and I can't quite make sense of this one. Oh, sorry. Rather, I should say there are, I think, multiple answers to this. It says Captain America ? With a picture of Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who, as played by John Barrowman. I think. Okay, so Captain, obviously, I think is.
I'm going to say American World War II Captain.
Yes, yeah.
Is he also making an America's ass of John Barrowman's sexual harassment on set? Like,
I suppose.
Oh,
yeah, the man loves to flash people. Like, just he was, and he refuses to apologize for it. Like.
Oh, John Barrowman, no.
It's one of those things where you're like, people like actively want to forgive him, but they're just like, all you need to do is apologize, and he just keeps refusing to do that exact thing. So,
mind you, this is behavior he was doing well into the 2010s. Like,
yeah, it's a problem. Not just like on Doctor Who, but also on like Arrow, which is like just, it sucks. Anyway, Kian. I don't know what you're on. I guess keep it up. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it at this point, except to encourage you. All right,
that's gonna help. That's only gonna make it worse.
Oh my god. All right. I think that about does it though for our questions on Blue Sky, and I think as such, our questions are our overall non-spoiler section for today's episode. Any final thoughts before we move on to spoilers?
Go buy this book. It's quite good. It's still in print, actually, which is
in multiple ways. You can get the regular trade, you can get the Epic collection, and they also put out a recent new edition of it, which is part of, I think, what do they call it? The Marvel Premiere line, I think, or what they're essentially what they're doing is they're republishing certain stories from Marvel and having like MCU actors write forwards to them. So they recently republished Daredevil Born. They recently republished Daredevil Born Again with a forward by Charlie Cox, which I think is really cool. But yeah,
Sebastian Stan's forward has been floating around on Tumblr for a while.
Really?
And it's actually really sweet.
I would be tempted to almost pick up the premiere editions just to read the forwards because I'm sure they're fascinating. But also, I'm not really in the market to be owning multiple print editions of Marvel books because you just kind of have to get them while they're there. And owning 2 copies of an in-print Marvel book just feels kind of redundant to me. So, I don't know. Anyway, I think that about does it for our non-spoiler section. As always, for those listening, you already know what's coming next time. We're doing more Captain America. We're talking about Captain America Red Menace next time. We're just continuing this run from where we're at right now. As always, if you want to follow us, our link trees to our socials and everything will be in the description below. And I'll leave Kestrel's Blue Sky down there as well. I'll leave Amazon links to the books we're covering today and next time down there as well. I think that about does it. Let's get into some spoilers, shall we?
Ooh.
So, spoilers. Jacob, I'm always kind of interested now, Jacob. You always write expectations in your notes before you start reading these books. I'm curious what your expectations pre-Winter Soldier were.
Let's see. Obviously, oddly enough, I went over some of them. Post 9/11 examination of the United States government. With like, let's be honest, the Bush administration being the current administration when this was being written.
Jacob, that would imply what you're trying to imply right now is that George Bush was a bad president, and that we all know that's simply not true.
You can't even finish the sentence.
It's getting harder and harder to finish these sentences as I keep this bit going.
Oh yeah, Kestrel, Joey has this bit.
The bad president.
Oh God. I do. I keep doing this bit where it's a good writer that I'm trying to imply is bad thing. Jokingly, of course. But I don't know.
I think it started around the time we were covering Gail Simone's Batgirl.
I think Gail Simone. I started doing it with Suicide Squad. I think because we did a lot of comics are political jokes in that.
Comics are political.
Or I mean, of course, as we know, comics are not political. If they were, then then I wouldn't even be reading these things. I mean, I don't want to read comics for politics. Come on.
That woke garbage, intoxicating our youths. TM.
Oh God. Anyway,
chaotic.
Into this. Captain America number 1. So, number 1.
Oh, I also said punching fascists and Nazis and simmering sexual tension ? Because I do know people like to ship Cap and Bucky because
I would say there's not really any sexual tension between them in this book. Although I suppose maybe you could read into it. Maybe. They're Bucky stands. They probably can.
But
I also completely didn't realize who was on the cover of the first issue.
Who in particular are you referring to?
Agent 13.
Ah, yes.
Because I had seen the film.
Famed MCU character Agent 13, Jake.
I had made the assumption that our female lead would probably be Black Widow. And we'll talk about that film. And
you see what the MCU does to people. Anyway, so kicking off here, we start from a flashback. 5 years ago in Russia, we meet sort of a primary antagonist to this. Definitely a primary antagonist to this.
Let's be honest. It's so weird. I was expecting this to be. I really should have learned by now with the MCU that when they like to subtitle their films famous comic arcs,
they never actually adapt the comic ever.
They don't like. No. I mean, okay, I suppose they get closer to adapting than DC films do.
I cannot wait until we start getting to Ultron comics and you see how miserably Age of Ultron fucked up.
Also, Jacob, the bar's in hell. If that's what we're going by.
Yeah, the bar's in hell. I think on both Marvel and DC fronts. I don't know.
Marvel's more annoying because you would think.
Well, here's the thing:
their films.
DC hardly ever actually subtitles their films with like famous comic arcs. Marvel does all the time, and they never actually adapt the comics that they're claiming to adapt. And also, they never pay their comic writers and artists that they're adapting the comics of.
Yeah.
I posted on Sky a little while ago where I was like, yeah, I'm reading the Brubaker's Captain America run, and every so often I am reminded of how much Marvel screwed him over.
I don't think I actually know this story, and you alluded to this in our group chat leading up to this episode. I don't know this story. Would you mind sharing?
So, as I understand it, and this may be wrong because it's been a hot second since I looked into it, But as I understand it, Brubaker really, I think he got like $5,000 or something for adapting it and doesn't get like residuals for actually writing it. He has a
Jesus.
very brief cameo in the Winter Soldier movie in the bank vault scene. He's one of the like Hydra people, and he said that he makes more money off residuals for that than he got for actually writing it. And then I
Ugh.
remember too, in some interview a few years ago, he was talking about how like at the Winter Soldier premiere, he had to like text Sebastian Stan to get them to let him in because his name wasn't on the list.
Jesus.
Like it's one of those things. Like I adore the movie, but also, God, Marvel.
You know,
Yeah.
they could.
Again, the bar is in hell.
The bar is. I mean, I'm sure DC isn't much better, but I think DC at least does residuals.
I mean, what is that one famous story from
Jim Starlin?
Jim Starlin, who got paid more for KG being in Batman vs Superman than Thanos being in Infinity War, which is absolutely insane.
Thanos' entire appearances of the MCU because like
Yep.
if it comes down to screen time. If it's below a certain amount of screen time, then that is just a cameo and they don't have to pay.
Yeah. And so for KG Beast, I think they just paid him up front, isn't it? Which is
I think
crazy.
so. I think they may have to just pay him to use the character because of how DC. Because I think DC might actually work similarly. Doctor Who works like pre 2005. If you created a Doctor Who monster and wrote a Doctor Who story, you own that creation. The BBC does not own the rights to the Daleks. They have to license them from the Terry Nation estate every time they want to use them. Which is, good. Pay your creators. Whereas I don't think Marvel is.
Hot take: pay people for work. Anyway, let's get to the actual comic though. So we have General Lucan, we have Red Skull. Obviously, Jacob, I'm assuming you had a familiarity with the Red Skull ahead of time.
I was aware that he was a Nazi with a red skull, played by Hugo Weaving.
Yes, and then not played by Hugo Weaving, because who would blame him for not wanting to come back to the MCU?
Yes, Hugo Weaving.
But
the more Marvel we do, the more you're going to get my annoyed MCU takes.
They're valid takes.
I'm going to sound like Martin Scorsese out of context.
As I said in our group chat, I love the MCU, but also, god damn it, I hate the MCU.
Oh god, I think there is a wonderful quote from that group chat that I told my brother about and quoted on our Star Wars show, RTBD. That went something along the lines of, you have to really love something to hate it this much.
Yes, my friend told me that about Star Wars.
Yes. So fantastic. Anyway, so we have Lucan and Red Skull looking into a mysterious figure with a robot arm and long hair in a green tube that I'm sure is very mysterious, and nobody reading this could possibly guess who that is. However, we then flash forward, or I guess flash back to the present day. We're in New York. We have the Red Skull, who, Jacob, I believe you were under the impression was going to be like the main villain of this story somehow.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be the main villain. Yeah, it would make sense. It would make plenty of sense. That would just be logical.
Yeah.
And, Brubaker sells it like that's logical. He's got this thing called a cosmic cube.
No MCU connections there at all, obviously.
I don't think there are. There? Wait, are there?
Yes,
MCU?
Jacob. First Avenger. That's exactly what he's using in First Avenger when he's making those weapons.
Is that supposed to be the cosmic cube? I thought this was a different thing.
No, that's definitely a cosmic cube.
But it's the space stone.
Well, yeah. So what the MCU did with that is they turned a cosmic cube into an Infinity Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
Well, all I know is that the cosmic cube can do anything.
Yes,
it is quite literally the MacGuffin of this entire goddamn arc.
I would also really want to take a moment to appreciate this panel where the Red Skull drinks something out of a glass and the liquid falls entirely out of his skull because he's a skull, and it's great.
Me chuckle.
After our Red Skull scene, we start getting into some Captain America shit. So Jacob, this is, I think, sort of famously the comic that sort of gives Steve Rogers the persona that the MCU would eventually adapt into their version of the character. And I think you see that pretty early on here, I think, in his first scene here with Sharon. Any sort of, I guess, thoughts on that? How Steve is portrayed in these opening scenes, or I guess throughout the story as a whole?
Well, it makes it very easy to hear Chris Evans's portrayal of the character in the way he's written. It's particularly interesting because I don't have the frame of reference for what came before. Neither
do I.
I'm also largely curious to see pre-Brubaker Cap runs in general, just because. Okay, this may sound weird, but Marvel, in terms of iconic characters, before the MCU had a handful.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man and the X-Men.
You mean all the ones they sold to other companies for film rights?
Basically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And I'll say as far as other Cap runs pre-Brubaker, my biggest point of reference is I've actually read a lot of Silver Age Captain America by Stan Lee. There's actually some really good Silver Age Cap that I was
going to say that doesn't sound like it would work because,
dude, there's some really good Silver Age Cap. I'm not gonna lie, especially the early sort of Tales of Suspense era when Stan Lee is kind of jumping back and forth between World War II flashbacks and present day stuff. It's really cool.
But I mean, Stan Lee is Stan Lee. Who draws that run? Who draws a lot of that run?
I am now blanking on that. I would grab my Epic collection, but I don't want to disrupt the recording.
Okay.
I will find out momentarily.
It's not Kirby. It can't be. I mean, it could.
Oh no, I think there is some Jack Kirby in that. Hang on.
Of course, there's Kirby.
It probably is.
Probably is. It's probably Kirby or Ramita or Heck, maybe.
Trying to think what the first one is called. Captain America. Oh god, what is it called? Trying to think. What is the name of the first volume? Captain America Lives Again. Okay, so let's see. Hang on. Yeah, it's Kirby. Yep.
It's Kirby. Okay, that makes sense considering he co-created the character.
Yeah, of course.
I will say what's really interesting is we are because of sliding timescale of comics, we are far past the Steve Rogers has had to adjust to the modern age.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
but it's so funny because originally the modern age was the 60s.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny going back and reading early Stan Lee Avengers when he first brings Captain America back into at the time what was modern comics, and he's all I've been frozen in ice for since World War II, and everyone's like, wow, Captain America, you've been frozen in ice for 20 years. And it's just yeah, I guess he would have been. Good God.
It's only going to get more ridiculous as time goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. Anyway, so we establish our relationship between Steven and Sharon here.
We also established Sharon as a character because the MCU has this character.
I get to do things.
She does get to do things.
So things.
Isn't it nice?
she gets to have romantic banter. It's very much they're on a break, but oh god, they want to fuck.
The tension is there. We get a great little flashback to a week earlier, Cap taking down some bad guys, just essentially because what Brubaker kind of does smartly is he realizes that this first issue isn't really action heavy and it's mostly just people standing in rooms talking, so we need to have something to get Captain America in action in the first issue of the new Captain America run.
This is also labeled with a big number 1. So we know people are going to want to buy it. So you got to have some action.
It's great action. Brubaker barely writes any dialogue in it because it's just show off Captain America. It's nice.
It makes him, a harder hero, a hero who doesn't mind throwing a good punch.
Mm-hmm.
And
he kills somebody in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they explicitly, Steve Rogers has been no stranger to killing. Even in the MCU, we know he killed Nazis, which is a valiant path, if you ask me.
Of course.
But I was just like, oh no, Steve Rogers just straight up killed somebody. Okay.
It's always so interesting reading these kind of things as like a lifelong DC fan, and just being like, oh yeah, no, Marvel superheroes just kill people all the fucking time. That tracks.
And it's interesting even in the MCU because like I mentioned, my like obsession with Bucky came with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that's post Winter Soldier Bucky, and he's like, I'm not a killer anymore, and like, well, maybe he doesn't like directly shoot or stab anybody fatally, but like, he does throw a lot of guys off buildings. Like,
oh, totally. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like,
don't you know?
I guess technically you didn't kill him. Terminal Velocity did, but like,
no, Kestrel. There were mattresses at the bottom there. They're fine. Don't worry, I can see their parachutes.
I always love that one shot
where he gets launched into a trash garbage truck.
I love that one shot in First Avenger when Captain America tosses a guy into a propeller blade of a plane, and it's fucking gruesome.
Oh my god!
You see that guy get shredded. It's wonderful. But anyway, so back in the present, that we see Steve and Sharon talking some more. Brubaker starts setting up Steve reflecting a lot on his past. There's this great moment where he tells Sharon about what he consistently dreams about. When he dreams, he only sees the war, essentially. We're briefly reminded of Bucky Barnes, just Brubaker laying those little seeds there. Once again, it'll become very apparent in the near future that Brubaker is not hiding who this Winter Soldier is going to be.
Oh, it's really interesting. Oh, no, you go ahead.
I will say, and I have it in my notes here too. It's like I wish I could go back and like read this without knowing that, because I'm wondering how much of that is just like, well, yeah, we know the Marvel universe. It's one of those things like when you read the original Jekyll and Hyde, the big twist is that Henry Jekyll is also Edward Hyde. So I'm just like wondering how much of it is pop culture synergy and how much of it is actually like, Brubaker not making a.
That's fair. That's fair. I think.
And again, it's weird that 2004 seemed to be the year for it. Like,
yeah. Well, it's weird, and you're absolutely right about that, Kestrel. Like, I think it's kind of impossible to go back to a time where you can recommend to somebody like Winter Soldier or Under the Red Hood and have them like not know the entire point of that story.
Unless they do not know these characters at all. Like,
yeah, but it's very hard. It's very hard, I think, especially in the Winter Soldier's case, because MCU is fucking massive. And
Winter Soldier is one. I am a Winter Soldier lover for obvious reasons, but also I just think it's one of the best Marvel movies ever. So
it's a genuinely good film, despite the directors.
My big hot take.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say my hot take is that the Russos are bad directors that found themselves in just the right place at just the right time.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if you saw me in the group chat, but I said I compared it to Gal Gadot's acting, where like, when she's Wonder Woman, she's playing this like fish out of water in the first one, and that worked because Diana was a fish out of water. And then we just kind of slowly realized that, oh no, she just acts like that. Yeah. And I think that's what happened to the Russo brothers. Is it's like, oh yeah, they were really good at this, and then we realized, oh no, they're just like that.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I was about to say I called it on Blue Sky. The Russo brothers peaking in high school.
Oh,
again, I'm sure we'll get.
Or if we want to make the joke hit closer to home, they peaked in community college.
I forgot that they wrote Community episodes or directed them. I mean,
directed. Yeah, I've never actually seen Community 2. I've not seen a lot of things. We can talk about that later. I think what's also interesting is Brubaker clearly wants to engage with the horrors of war and the fact that, like, I don't know. I I've not read any original propaganda Captain America.
Nor have I, and I've always been interested in doing so.
If I had to guess, whilst punching Nazis and shooting Nazis is a noble pursuit, war is still hell, and I don't think those propaganda comics, being propaganda, would really portray this. So I think I doubt this is the first time. Like, I could very much imagine sort of doing this idea in especially like the late 70s, early 80s, post-Vietnam, especially using Cap that way. But I mean,
I'll say, again, my big point of reference being Stan Lee Silver Age Cap. I think the biggest thing that Stan Lee sort of like tapped into was like Steve's PTSD, not about the war in particular, but about the death of Bucky Barnes. Like, that was something that consistently haunted him, even throughout the Lee run.
One of my favorite Silver Age panels is Hank. It's like, I think it's Captain America and Ant-Man, and it's like, Steve, get a hold of yourself, and he's like, I'm sorry, Hank, I was overcome about Bucky, and I was like, God, I've never felt more seen.
Oh, classic.
Like, buddy.
Amazing. Anyway, we've been on this first issue for a while. Anyway, Red Skull gets shot and dies, and
okay. Yeah, we're doing that. That threw me for a loop.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of fun. Great last panel. My God, I love that last page so much.
I was really like, oh, he's dead. Huh.
Yeah. You also had a theory about who killed him, and you turned out to be wrong about that as well. So that's fun.
Who was your theory? I'm curious now.
Well, I should say this. I believe. I don't say too much. Well, we are in spoilers, I suppose. So you were immediately like, oh yeah, Bucky killed the Red Skull. Good for him. I'm like,
good for him.
He did. I was like, sure he did, Jacob. You're right.
I don't know if I can make any sweeping statements about capitalism and Americana, but the answer is right. Capitalism.
Anyway, getting into Captain America #2, then. Yeah, let's jump right into it. This is where we start really focusing on flashbacks to World War II and Cap's time with Bucky, and I think this is where, in addition to setting up the initial mystery last issue, Brubaker really starts laying the seeds of Bucky's connection to this story in a way. So
it's where it's like, oh right, I need to actually have a plot.
Yeah. This is where we also start to see.
Bring back my boy.
This is where we start to see also a character by the name of Crossbones. Jacob, do you know who Crossbones is by reference of MCU?
No, I don't.
Okay, so do you remember Frank Grillo in The Winter Soldier? His S.H.I.E.L.D. character that's actually a bad guy in that?
Or that like 15 minutes he's in Civil War.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, so
I'm face palming right now. You can't see it.
So you've seen Captain America: Civil War, the movie, right, Jacob?
I saw it in theaters. Yes.
Okay, so you know the opening scene where there's that guy that Scarlet Witch fucks up, right? This is him.
Okay.
He gets
Oh God, because also isn't Crossbones actually a great character in this story?
He's so interesting.
And
I was like, the character, he gets to do things.
Right? And as far as like our next episode is concerned, like Crossbones is sort of like our big antagonist.
I was gonna say, it feels like they're setting him up to be the villain of the second arc. Like
you're absolutely correct.
Like, or third arc, if you want to count.
Because this first volume is technically 2 arcs. So yeah, you're right. Third arc technically. But yeah, we get flashbacks, we get Crossbones, we get Steve once again being haunted by dreams of his past.
And so what's interesting is we're also playing with the memory cheating. Like,
yeah.
Now, I don't know if throughout Marvel's history, because Marvel. Okay. I know people make fun of DC for rebooting its universe a bunch, but sometimes you just need to reboot and start from zero. Like,
dude, it's so funny. My favorite instance of of the Marvel timeline constantly needing to shift to accommodate the passage of time is when I was reading Alias, and there's a flashback to like the time period in which Peter Parker was supposed to still be in high school.
And it would be like...
And so Alias, which came out in the early 2000s, has to be like, yes, when Peter Parker was in school 15 years ago.
In the late 80s?
Yes.
This reminds me of I have a friend, she is obsessed with DC, and she's going through her favorite character is Stephanie Brown. So she's going through like all the things she can find of Steph, and she's like, I've come to the realization that Tim Drake has been 16 for like 6 years now.
Yeah. So it's so weird. I call it the Tim Drake problem because all 3 of the other male Robins have been allowed to age.
Mm-hmm. Like even Dick Grayson, who, to be fair, was Robin for 40, nearly 50 years.
Oh boy.
Yeah, here's the thing. He was a child until the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
He was teenager and then college age until the 80s, and now he's like an adult.
Yeah. And it's nice. You can actually see that development happening.
But Damien, poor
sweet baby boy Damien,
who is younger than Tim.
Why is John Kent allowed to age and Damian Wayne is not? and I like John Kent aging. That's nice. And Damien is also kind of sometimes implied to be like somewhere in his 20s, but
Damien is like now possibly the age of Tim. Like, it's just like, guys, let Tim grow up. Let Tim grow up and let Tim be Red Robin again. Like,
oh God, I need it. Anyway,
but my point is, we're going to be seeing a lot of different deaths of Bucky Barnes throughout this story.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're all like different retcons that have happened. They very well could have been, because
I was about to say, because in all fairness, the first one that we see is like Steven even brings attention to it that it's like altered.
It's like, yeah, that's not how this happened. What?
Well, yeah. The original like Stan Lee death of Bucky Barnes we will see eventually in this story around the halfway point. So, did you know what it was ahead of time, Jacob? What the actual comic death of Bucky was? Okay. Do you know which one it was based on the way this comic portrays it?
I think so.
Okay. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
We'll talk about it.
But yeah. So, moving on. We have Steve being made aware of the death of the Red Skull, being brought in to look at him as an autopsy is being performed at S.H.I.E.L.D.
I get.
What's up?
I get why he's like this, but I just think it's really funny that he's like, nah, that's not Red Skull. It can't be.
Steve Rogers is all too aware that he's in a comic book right now. It's
he is. He absolutely is, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
He's just like, nah, there's no way.
Steve has just enough genre awareness, but not quite enough to know where this is going.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, I think here's with a character like Steve Rogers, you can also rationalize it as like, if I have been able to survive this long, then so has the Skull, and him.
So has this evil.
Him actually being dead.
Nazi.
Exactly. Yeah. We do also get our first glimpses.
It's very funny.
We also get our first glimpses of Nick Fury in this story, who we have previously read on the podcast, mostly through the Hulk, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, in my notes, I just have white Nick Fury jump scare.
It is a scary thing, but also it's so weird because again he was white for most of the character's history, and yet still Sam Jackson feels so right.
I mean, well, let's be honest. They made Sam Jackson Nick Fury before Sam Jackson Nick Fury in the Ultimate Universe. Like,
yeah, exactly. So you can't really like complain about it, and it totally works. And I think Sam Jackson's voice still fits white Nick Fury.
The voice fits, but the face is. I'm like. It's like, why are you white? I know why you're white.
Oh my God, Jacob! You can't just ask somebody why they're white.
Jacob, why are you white?
That would be because of genetics and having.
Can I turn you into Samuel L. Jackson?
No.
Are you sure about that?
I do not have the acting chops to become Samuel L. Jackson. Okay.
Fine, I will.
Well, not with that attitude. I also
Anyway.
really enjoy how, like, Steve, we need DNA, and then Sharon has to, like, lightly exposition dump because they know some people are just jumping in right here, myself included, where she's like, oh, I forgot that he's a clone of you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Which,
oh yeah.
So
which I appreciated because I was
I'm
jumping
aware.
in right in the.
Here's the thing: if nothing else, like Brubaker does a great job, I think, of catching people up on the really weird history of Captain America, especially when we start getting into like 50s Captain America, which we will touch on in this book. It's great. It's exciting. It's fun.
I'll also say, still not as weird as Captain America is a Nazi.
Yeah.
That
Jacob?
happened at like the very beginning of my like Marvel obsession, and I
was gonna say,
oh no! That did happen at like the height of the MCU's popularity, didn't it?
I want to say we were freshmen in college when that happened. Like,
I think senior year of high school, because I remember talking about it with my friends while sitting in my English class.
Possibly, it was freshman year of college when I was made aware that was a thing that was happening, and even then, I'm like, why would you make why would you make a character who's like famously a Nazi?
Even Stanley, the height of any sensationalist comics for the sake of selling comics, I don't think would ever do that. Like,
anyway, of course he wouldn't. He's Jewish. Like,
well, yeah, of course.
Like,
yeah, well, yeah. He gets why that is a bad idea.
I will say it did spark a really fun era of memes on Tumblr where people were like, the one that I always remember is like, what do you mean the Doctor was a Cyberman the whole time?
Yeah. Anyway, so we get more of Cap investigating the Red Skull's death. We get some flashbacks to the Red Skull's part in the Nazi Party during World War II. Always crazy when comic artists have to draw real, actual Adolf Hitler.
Yeah,
crazy.
I will say, you know what? We haven't actually commented on Steve Epting yet.
Yes, let's do that.
Who pencils everything but issue 7.
Mm-hmm. Issue 7
and inks most of it, though you also get Mike Perkins, who it's always weird when I read especially when we read modern day comics and it becomes a comic artist who I'm aware of because of Doctor Who comics, like like Dave Gibbons didn't throw me for a loop because it's Dave Gibbons.
Yeah, we had Steve Dillon back in Preacher, who's also a Doctor Who comic guy.
Steve Moore, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
have we done something with Moore yet?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Technically, Alan Moore.
Technically, Alan Moore. Yeah, Alan Moore counts.
I was this moment years old when I learned that Dave Gibbons did Doctor Who comics. I only know him from Watchmen. So
that's fair. Dave Gibbons' Doctor Who comics are great.
They are fantastic. He drew the Doctor Who comics for all the Doctor Who magazine 4th Doctor comics and the 5th Doctor ones, and they are even when the stories are really bad because it's a monthly comic feature in a magazine. And for whatever reason, one of the writing teams decided we're only going to do 1 or 2 issue stories. So 8-page stories. Mm-hmm. They look fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite things about Watchmen is the art, so I get it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, Grant Morrison did Doctor Who comics.
That's true.
Really?
Great comics. Weird comics.
Yeah.
Because Grant Morrison, but yeah. Anyway, we get more Cap and Sharon then going down into the sewers to investigate. They come across a group called AID. Jacob, I don't think we never read anything with AIM. the group AIM. There are a lot of references to offshoots and plays on the group AIM in Marvel Comics, and so I can't imagine any of these moments landed for you.
Oh, no, there was a lot of early... I was going to be honest, I struggled a little bit with the early stuff, because, well, Brubaker does a great job of catching you up. Once again, Marvel has the problem of everything is canon, so you physically cannot catch everybody up on everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Brubaker will try his damnedest.
I knew AIM with, an M, because that's in one of the Iron Man sequels that, I'll be honest, I cannot tell the difference between.
Wait, did they do
It's
AIM?
one of those things.
Wait, oh, that's right, they did. That's right, they did
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, I believe. Yes, that is correct.
the Iron Man film I haven't seen.
You haven't seen Iron Man 2? Oh,
You're
damn.
not missing
Okay.
I have seen 1, and I saw 3 in theaters.
People can hate on Iron Man 2 all they want. It's not a great film, but God, it has style, unlike a lot of other MCU projects.
I'm not a big Iron Man guy. I am an MCU Tony Stark hater.
Damn, ouch.
Right, we're gonna have to get you on when we do Iron Man comics just so you can hate on Tony Stark.
No, just specifically MCU. I don't know enough about comics Tony Stark to say anything. I think Robert Downey Jr. does a great job with him. I just can't stand Tony Stark.
So I've only read his appearances in Hulk books, pretty much.
Yeah, true.
He's a bastard.
He's a bastard. As that is to me, that is what is enjoyable about him. But I'm also a John Constantine fan, so maybe that says something about me. I don't know.
We just got another Blue Sky question.
You can read it off. I'm nowhere near Blue Sky. Go right ahead.
From the user formerly known as Rules Panda, aka Joey can read this. Bluesky.social.
He made it. Yes.
When we're done, Kestrel, I'll explain to you this person's name because on Twitter they had a name that I want to say was like a string of numbers.
It was something. It was long string of numbers because I guess just the way Twitter works.
Twitter generates stuff.
And so whenever I would read this person's questions out on previous episodes, I'd be like, "Wow, you got to change your name. I'm sick of reading out all those numbers." And so they eventually changed their ad on Twitter to "Joey can read this." Now that is carried over to Blue Sky, and I'm so happy about that.
They say, "Do you agree that Winter Soldier is the best Captain America movie?"
Yes. I love First Avenger. I was
gonna say I have the hot take that First Avenger is slightly better, mainly for for one, Hugo Weaving.
Yeah,
I think Toby Jones is better in First Avenger. He has a great scene in Winter Soldier. We'll talk about it at the end.
His scene though with Tommy Lee Jones in First Avenger is fantastic, and I love Tommy Lee Jones in First Avenger as well. He's great.
And of course, Stanley Tucci. More Marvel movies need a musical number like Star Spangled Man. I think that is a not just great song, but also just a great scene showing what American propaganda in World War II was. It's fantastic.
I love about one of my favorite things that I love about that sequence is that they make the original Captain America 1 comic canon in the Marvel universe. Which makes me wonder, how did Bucky feel about being downgraded to a teenager?
True. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to know how that conversation went.
And also I'll say Rules Panda did reply, or actually I could read this, reply to my Blue Sky post as well, with their own version of the Key and Doctor Who gag, which has consistently been like Muppets. In this case, though, we have Captain America ? With a GIF of Oscar the Grouch in front of an American flag,
singing "Happy 4th of July" with some other Grouches.
Amazing. Oscar the Grouch is like the best Sesame Street character, by the way. Can we just agree on this?
Yeah.
Don't do Big Bird like that.
I do love Big Bird, but come on, Oscar. Yeah, maybe I don't know. I always related to Oscar.
The older I get, the more I relate to Oscar the Grouch.
That's exactly it. It's the SpongeBob thing of the older you get, the more you understand Squidward. It's that makes sense. Anyway, God, we are barely talking about this fucking comic, are we?
Okay, no more tangents. Again, I will say the opening issues for me were kind of slow, but not enough to dock points in my numbers. But I'm this is setting up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're investigating Red Skull's death. We have again fantastic mostly dialogueless action. Like, my God.
Yeah.
Steve Epting is really interesting in his terms of his layouts because he does a lot of layouts that are really regimented, but they never feel regimented. Like there's enough action and motion and things going on. Also, I always love just creative uses of the of Captain America's shield.
Oh god, when it's bouncing between those other eight soldiers, it's great.
Not to once again bring up the MCU. I wish we had more Captain America stuff with Steve Rogers directed by people who weren't the Russo brothers. Because framing is important.
We'll always have one movie.
One movie.
We do get a Cap versus Crossbones fight towards the end here, where Crossbones does eventually escape, and Nick Fury finds the cosmic cube that Red Skull had, and
that it has been stolen by someone.
Oh yeah, it's been stolen. And we end up with Crossbones escaping from Captain America and contacting someone on a payphone because it's 2004 and payphones still existed.
Hey, payphones still exist.
They're around.
Sure, they're just not sure they are.
Most people just wouldn't know how to use them today.
Yeah, but also I have like one payphone still in the area where I live, and it doesn't work. So like, there used to be payphones everywhere where I grew up, and they're not.
They are still around if you live in a city.
I do live in a city. It's not a massive
city. A city that if you asked a person if they have heard of this city, they would be able to say yes.
That's understandable. Anyway,
because Joey, I know where you live. I have never heard of that city.
Well, maybe that's just a problem with you, Jake. Have you ever considered that?
Damn.
Anyway, Captain America number 3. Captain America number 3. Now we have Shield investigating the entirety of Shield now, investigating our cosmic cube, our Crossbones, our Red Skull death. Brubaker just kind of wrapping up our mystery here throughout.
Because he really wants to start teasing Bucky.
Yes,
more than he was.
Mm-hmm.
Relatable. I have to ask this. I know it's fairly early on, but in like the flashbacks and stuff where Cap is talking about fighting the French with the French resistance, and he's talking about like, it really grinds my gears that people talk about the French being cowards. So I have to ask, because I know this is a thing, because I watched Lindsay Ellis has a video from like way, way, way back in the day about Captain America. And I think it's when like Mark Miller was writing him, there's some stupid joke where it's like, do you think the A on this helmet stands for France?
France!
Oh God, no!
I need to know if this came before or after, because I want to know if Brubaker is apologizing slightly for that.
I want to say this is before that, actually.
Hang on. You guys vamp. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Find out when that happened. But yeah.
That was all I could think of. I was like, I wonder if this is before or after. I think it was Mark Miller wrote that question.
Yeah, Mark Millar, asshole that he is. Grant Morrison's least favorite person. Mark Millar. I can't even think of what story that's from now. Oh God,
I don't remember. Like I said, I only know about it because of the Lindsay Ellis video where she calls him the patron saint of angry 14-year-old boys, which I think is really funny.
So it actually came before this.
Oh, it did? Okay.
It came in The Ultimates in 2002.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
So it isn't even this Cap. It isn't even this Cap saying it. It is alternate universe Ultimates where pretty much everyone's an asshole except Peter Parker. Because we need to have one universe where high school Peter Parker isn't a sociopath.
Yeah, I would also like. God, this is insane though, because like, I'm not even sure if it's Brubaker apologizing for that, because I think everyone still kind of had to bow to Mark Millar at the time because he was about to write a massive Marvel.
I was gonna say he was about to write Civil War.
Yeah,
and you can tell by the end of this, Brubaker is kind of pissed that he has to capitulate and do some Civil War stuff coming up.
Yeah. Here's the problem though: is Civil War is not a good story, but I think every tie-in I've read to Civil War is actually good, because everyone that isn't Mark Millar actually wants to do interesting things with the idea. Namely, Ed Brubaker, who writes some great Civil War tie-ins, and we'll definitely read those someday. But
it's almost like the idea behind Civil War at the premise is brilliant,
It is. It's a great
and
idea.
Mark Millar
is not brilliant.
only wrote good things when he was paired with Grant Morrison on The Flash for some reason.
Oh, I have to know, Kestrel, do you know the famous Grant Morrison quote about Mark Millar?
I do not.
Essentially, Morrison was doing an interview, and somebody asked them if it said like, "Oh, Mark Millar like lives in Glasgow. Do you think you'll run into him?" And Grant Morrison goes, "Yes, and I hope I'm going like 100 miles an hour when I do so." It is amazing.
I love that for
him. Truly amazing.
Them. Morrison uses they them.
That is correct.
Yes.
Oh.
I love it. Our non-binary guest misgendering someone is hilarious.
Hey, I didn't know.
No, it's fine. You didn't. If you didn't know, I just think that's hilarious.
Anyway, so God, we really are going on so many tangents. We gotta like speed run these issues. We're
not speeder. But yeah, okay. I will say, yeah, Who is this villain in this first flashback with the hood?
This is oh god. So Jacob, you've seen Captain America: Civil War, right?
Yes, I have. Oh my god, what are you gonna? Who's this gonna be?
You know the main villain in Captain America: Civil War, the guy that supposedly orchestrates the fight between Bucky Barnes and everyone else.
Okay,
this is supposed to be him. This is Baron Zemo. He's a fantastic classic Captain America villain. Originally the reason that Bucky Barnes died, and this is him. This is supposed to be him. So,
this is him.
I have a note here for the next issue, and it's just he does not fuck around. Jesus.
Yeah, we love Baron Zemo. I'm a big Zemo fan.
I like him in the MCU a lot too. I think it might just be because Jake plays him so cunty, but.
Oh man, I hate MCU Zemo so much.
You're allowed. I get that they are two just completely different characters, but I just think MCU Zemo is fun.
that's I guess that's fair. I like the view of him dancing, but that's about it.
That's fair. I don't know.
Anyway,
he's a villain that I think would have been better if the Russos hadn't been directing that movie.
Yeah.
Weird. A lot of problems seem to come down to they let the Russos direct.
Yeah. God. Anyway,
but, what's interesting? So we basically have a bunch of bombs throughout London and Paris that we are looking for. That Shield is investigating with. Also, Shield's tech. I love it.
I love a classic Shield flying car. One of the only good things Agents of Shield did is they did the Shield flying car.
It's that perfect ridiculous design of it. Remember, I get wanting realism, but this is also a comic book where we have a man shot with radiation to become a super soldier, man kept in stasis, and literal Nazis from World War II who are still alive today.
Mm-hmm. Let it be fun.
I think we can suspend our disbelief a little bit.
Yeah. So we have Cap and
convertible.
So we have Cap and Sharon. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just wondering. I wonder if that's like what, because in Cap 1, when Howard Stark's giving his presentation, he shows like the levitating car, and it kind of looks like that. I wonder if that's a reference to the.
I believe that's exactly what that is. Yeah,
probably.
I love that.
Howard Stark, played by Dominic Cooper, aka Jesse Custer in the TV show Preacher.
I didn't make that connection. Oh.
That is exactly who that is.
The only good iteration of Howard Stark in the MCU, at least.
Yeah,
after that,
I agree with that. Dominic Cooper is supreme Howard Stark. I also love his appearances in the Agent Carter show. He's fantastic in that.
I need to watch Agent Carter because I tried watching it like way back. I rented it from the library and I couldn't watch it because it was too dark. Not in subject matter, but I couldn't fucking see.
for my money, easily the best like cable TV MCU show. It's really good.
I'm watching the new, I'm also watching Daredevil Born Again, but I'm watching the original Netflix Daredevil and I'm really enjoying it.
Oh god, it's so good. It's so good. Just even Born Again is still coming out at the time of recording, but like both Daredevil shows, I think,
I
are just peak MCU. Oh my god, I love them.
I don't know really anything about Daredevil other than he had sex with She-Hulk that one time.
That's true.
But I am a She-Hulk apologist. I don't think it's the best TV show, but I had fun and it's not as bad as everyone says. But
I watched a couple episodes, and the episodes I've watched, I really had fun with. Like, I'm like, I don't get the problem.
Yeah, MCU Daredevil, specifically, I guess, like Netflix Daredevil and now MCU Daredevil is just a great adaptation of the character. Not knowing anything about the character is fine going in because they do a fantastic job with him. So,
God, it was just funny though going in with Born Again because like there's a very big thing that happens in the first episode that I'm like, I'm sure this is really sad to somebody who watched the Netflix show.
Oh god, it's so good. It's so good. Jacob, you need to keep watching the Defenders saga, please.
I'm working on things, I promise. Anyway, back to this before Jacob gets spoiled on some Marvel stuff that...
Anyway, Cap and Sharon hunting down some bombs. This is AIM. These guys in like the yellow hazmat suits, these are AIM, Jacob.
What does AIM actually stand for? It's like...
I forget. Advanced something? I forget.
Advanced Intelligence Militia. I don't know.
Sure.
I can't remember. Or is Advanced Ideas in something? I can't remember.
I feel like the M stands for mechanics, but don't quote me on that. Like I said, Iron Man is are the films that I know the least in the MCU. Cap is by far Iron Man. I'm like, I have watched them.
It's some Lee and Kirby bullshit standing for Advanced Idea Mechanics.
That's okay. That is what it is then. Okay, I was on the right path.
But yeah, also we start getting hints that because it's Nick Fury and that he may know some things.
Yeah, I mean Nick Fury famously not a bastard at all, right?
I also really like the line in the very literally my last note for this issue is when he's like, I've been needing to scream at something all day. I just wrote God mood.
I love it.
That is me at work.
Yeah.
Also, we get this adorable scene of Steve and Sharon in Paris and at night, and it's not romantic, but it is totally romantic because we are in fucking Paris.
And you know how like when you're on a date and you just start telling war stories in the middle of it all. I think that really sets the mood. And
I mean, we've all seen Casablanca. Kestrel, have you seen Casablanca? Have you seen the film Casablanca?
Are you gonna hate me if I say no? Because
no, I'm not. You should. It's very good. It's oddly enough film that makes me cry, mainly at the scenes set in Paris. But like it's like, yeah, this is Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca. Just perfect. We'll always have Paris. And then we have some more great flashbacks.
Great flashbacks. Date continues, and then the issue ends with, oh god. So Jacob, I'm sure this scene meant nothing to you, but my god, when you get to issue 7, when this actually becomes especially relevant. So a character by the name of Jack Monroe is clearly killed by the character that we will eventually know as the Winter Soldier. And that is where the issue ends. But oh man, I cannot wait to talk about issue 7.
I was also like, okay, wait, who is this guy and why is Bucky killing him? And why would he know Bucky? Like, what?
Also, he look exactly like Bucky.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
We don't know. Yeah, I figured that out later.
We're gonna have to talk about that plot point, I think, coming up here in issue 4, because...
Yeah.
Or is it issue 5? One of them.
Well, first off, we're getting into issue 4 here. I'm using this cover as the thumbnail for this episode. I've already made the thumbnail for it, and it's kind of perfect. But yeah, okay, so we catch up at long last with one General Lucan, who we have not seen since issue 1. It's so interesting. I gotta say, having reread this being my first time having reread this for this episode, knowing a certain twist about Lucan that is coming up, makes rereading his scenes really interesting. I was curious if you had any theories as to that, as you're reading this in real time, Jacob or Kestrel.
Kind of hit me like a truck when we got to the twist,
as it should.
But it makes so much goddamn sense because
Weird comic book bullshit.
Well, not just weird comic book bullshit, but also it's almost like Brubaker is trying to say some stuff about the Bush administration here without using American governmental employees, because this is still 2004, 2005, whereas like we're still in the period of, let's just say, popular culture at this point is still conservative.
Jacob,
like
what you're trying to imply right now is that conservatives,
proud to be an American, etc.
Freedom fries over French fries, because that was a fucking thing.
Jacob, what you're trying to imply right now is that conservatives are bad people, and I just think that's not true. No. That's
not what I'm implying at all. I'm implying that at best they're idiots.
That's fair. Anyway, so we see Lucan. We start bringing him back into the fold. We have Cap training a bit.
Also, he wants to take over an energy conglomerate.
Totally normal thing to do.
Yeah, it's almost like Brubaker's trying to say something about multinational corporations investing themselves in American issues.
You're trying to imply that corporations are bad, and we all know that corporations are good.
They have nothing but our best intentions in mind at all times.
Exactly.
And they
Jacob,
certainly would continue to do things that hurt people.
I'm doing a countdown to see which one of you references a dropout thing explicitly first.
Anyway, so
well, if it helps, I haven't seen dropout stuff, so.
So it's probably going to be.
It's going to be. Kestrel, if they approve of password sharing, I'll share with you my dropout info. Yeah, I'll do that.
Also, totally unrelated to everything in this episode. The Kings at Dropout, like the recent pricing thing, like just amazing. I love these guys.
So they're like, it's Semrush is like, look, I really don't want to increase my pricing, but I have to because.
But also, if you're already subscribed, your pricing is going to stay the same. And so, of course, all the comments are just filled with people being like, "Yeah, no, I'll still give you more money. I'll also cancel and resubscribe."
Like, I mean, I won't do that because I need to save money because a recession is happening.
Big mood.
Yeah, it's like. It's so weird that we're talking. You know what? I will say, it gave me so much catharsis reading a book where we're punching Nazis through the entire goddamn thing in today's current climate. Because but
I think I put in my notes somewhere. Like, there's some line I don't remember. It's somewhere in my notebook, but I'm just like, oh god, oh no. That meme of the Riddler where it's like, does he know?
Nick Fury contacts Steve and tells him to come into S.H.I.E.L.D. and tell him that, hey, one Jack Monroe is dead.
And then we get this line. The line that threw me for a loop was, a long time ago, he was the Bucky from the 50s, the crazy one. Which, okay.
I love it.
If I had a
you know how the name Bucky Barnes is a name that you can just pass down to people?
I also love too that just nobody who has ever had the Bucky moniker has ever just had a good time.
To be fair, child Bucky Barnes, the OG Bucky Barnes, I had a pretty nice life, I think.
Yeah,
because he grew up in World War II propaganda comics where heroes didn't really face hardship.
Yeah, and well, I mean, let's be honest. I will say, Bucky is the only Marvel sidekick proper. Like Marvel Pie.
The Falcon existed in the 60s,
but he's not like.
Are you going to tell me he was a child in the 60s?
Oh no, he wasn't a child. I'm just saying, like sidekicks don't have to be children.
Okay, well, technically that's correct. But in terms of literary fiction and the archetype of the sidekick, they kind of do with the role that they fill. It's why Dick Grayson was created as like a kid sidekick, because he's supposed to be the audience surrogate in publishing.
I mean, okay. I guess if you want to make that argument, then like Rick Jones existed. Like Rick
Wasn't
Jones was a child
sidekick?
sidekick of the Incredible Hulk. That's totally what he was.
Weird. So the two child sidekicks that the sidekick proper that Marvel has is Bucky, who existed before Marvel was really Marvel and was at the heyday of sidekicks, and a character for the Hulk, a character whose book died after 8 issues.
And Rick Jones then became a sidekick to Captain America when Captain America was brought into the Avengers.
Wait, did he become Bucky #2 or whatever?
I believe so. Hang on, let me make sure of this. I'm pretty sure he did.
Wait,
There's been like 4 or 5 Buckies, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there are a lot.
Okay, you know what? I will rag on the MCU all day for making
yeah, he totally was. Yep.
For not doing like comic accuracy. But Bucky Barnes is not a name that can be passed down. It's not Robin.
I love it. It's like a title.
I believe the thing is Bucky is the moniker. Like Captain America is Steve Rogers' moniker that can be passed around.
Yeah.
But also, no one was just calling Steve Captain America. People were just calling Bucky.
Because that was his name.
Yeah.
I love it. So
I'm trying to think of the DC sidekicks at the time. You would have Robin, and I think you would have Wonder Girl around the time, like Donna Troy kind of started to.
Supergirl existed in the 50s, so
yeah.
Aqualad was definitely a thing already.
Aqualad was definitely a thing.
Kid Flash.
No, Kid Flash was.
Yeah, he existed.
Kid Flash was 50s. Kid Flash was 50s because of
And Speedy, right?
Speedy would have.
Yes, Speedy definitely existed. Yeah, totally. DC was always big on the sidekick game, which is awesome.
Yeah, interesting that Superman didn't get a sidekick, but he did get Superboy, the Adventures of Superman when he was a boy.
Yes, which is not to be confused with the character Superboy, who's a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor. So. Not to be confused with Superboy Prime, the character that punched a hole in the universe and brought Jason Todd back to life. Anyway,
Guess I'm gonna make you read. I guess I've got to convince you to read some DC bullshit some of these days because it's great.
It's so fun.
Oh no, my friend who loves Stephanie Brown has explained to me several of the DC bullshits, and I just think it's very funny.
Especially with Stephanie Brown, who has died and been brought back to life before.
She dies and gets better.
Yep, she gets better. I'm going to start using that phrasing now for talking about comic character resurrections.
Better.
Yeah.
Anyway, sometimes he gets worse while getting better, but it's fine.
Yeah. So Jack Monroe's dead. Steve is kind of sad about it. He goes to Virginia to go to a cemetery and reflect on the past once again.
Arlington National. Joey, you know what Arlington is, right?
Yes, Jacob. Oh my god.
Okay, cool.
I was shortening things for the sake of description.
Okay.
This episode is already an hour and a half, and we are not even a third of the way through the story, Jacob.
I didn't take my ADHD meds today, so tangents are gonna happen.
Oh no!
Here's the thing. This is going to go on my list of favorite episodes to record, and we're not even a third of the way through.
Jacob, do you not pride yourself on being like the wrangler on certain recordings? Like, come on.
This is true, but
and here you are, fully giving in to this bullshit. Come on.
Hey! This time it's because we have a guest who specifically came from me specifically, and not the both of us.
That's true.
I have difficulty wrangling people.
Jacob, you should have even more right to be mean and to wrangle your friends. Come on, Jacob, you can do this.
It's my fault.
It's entirely your fault.
So, I'm going to try to fine. I will try to wrangle this a little bit. So, we get a flashback to a character called the Spirit of 76.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
And his delightfully tacky costume.
So clearly a war propaganda character. And
It's
Jeff
so
Mace,
delightful.
aka the Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were Captain America and Bucky when... So, it's not entirely clear. I'm guessing when the plane goes down and Steve goes in the ice? Okay,
Steve goes in the ice, and as far as the world is concerned, Captain America is dead. But the idea is essentially Captain America has to continue to live on somehow, and so other people take on the mantle.
At least until the war is over. Which is, again, it's more of an examination of, we're examining this is propaganda comics, because the plane went down.
So I do, if I remember correctly, too, like we have to continue Captain America somehow thing is how they retcon the Cap Commie Smasher era. So,
because that doesn't work with, like, the rest of... Well, I mean, it kind of works with Cap's purpose as a piece of American propaganda, obviously.
Yeah.
But in terms of what the character has become, hell, probably even around the time Stan Lee took the character over and then kept him alive through the years. I mean, okay.
So to be fair, Stan Lee never made Captain America specifically hate commies. However, he definitely did that with Iron Man for some reason. It was always Iron Man taking down communists for some reason. I don't know why it was.
That makes him.
A billionaire taking out communist isn't exactly surprising to me.
So what you essentially get is when Tales of Suspense is a double feature between Iron Man and Captain America is constantly fighting communists on Iron Man's end and Nazis on Captain America's end, and it's honestly I love 60s Tales of Suspense. I can't lie, it's a great time. Anyway,
again. My main frame of reference for this comes from the Lindsay Ellis video on Captain America, but I'm pretty sure that's how they retcon the Cap Commie Smasher era.
Amazing. So we get our flashbacks to our other Captain Americas.
Because we need to reflect on the different Caps and Buckies.
Steve is trying to find his place among them, I believe, and to find a way to honor them, because the death of Jack Monroe is obviously hitting him, clearly affecting his view on... Once again, Brubaker is studying Captain America's place in the world, which I just find really fascinating. And then Crossbones shows up, and we get another Cap Crossbones fight. Intercut between this and more false memories within Steve's head of things that have happened to Captain America throughout his life and Bucky's. Things that are false, things that aren't quite the way he remembers. Steve is like,
a lot of it, I'm going to be honest, is clearly Brubaker being like, hey, so these propaganda comics would try to portray torture, but like wouldn't portray it with any sort of care because propaganda comic. Like
it would be more torture in the way that, I don't know, Star Trek's Plato's Stepchildren portrays torture.
And also, like, they were geared at children, and you don't really want to show, Zemo actively threatening to remove Bucky's eyes. That's the panel I have open to right now. You don't want to put that in the children's comic. That generally tends to put children off a bit.
Yeah.
I can't say I've...
But yeah, Brubaker is reckoning with what Steve having lived through this time period actually means for him mentally. It's cool. It's really, really cool.
We have another Crossbones fight.
Crossbones actually kind of kicks Steve's ass and kind of leaves him there.
It's not kind of, he just does.
It's great. But Crossbones says to like Steve that he says some Russian guy just called and told me where I could find you today. This was way too easy. I ain't taking you out like this. You tell that Russian too. Tell him he messed with the wrong hombre. It's amazing. Steve is left there. We then catch up with Sharon towards the end of the issue.
Who's been trying to investigate where Jack Monroe was.
And comes across a mysterious, long-haired, metal-armed fella that knocks her out, and I wonder who that could be. Anyway, Captain America number 5.
Jason Todd?
Jason Todd. That's exactly who it is.
No. Barry Allen. It's Barry Allen who made it to the Marvel universe when he died.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really what happened with Flashpoint. Is he just ran into another universe?
Bucky Barnes created Flashpoint.
I'm picturing like the domino meme.
Captain America number 5. So Jacob, how much do you know about Golden Age comics?
Well, okay, here's the interesting thing. I knew there was a Human Torch who wasn't Johnny Storm, and he was a robot.
I didn't know that you knew this. I'm glad
I was aware of this. Don't ask me why.
Awesome.
I don't even know why. I was also aware that Namor was a character.
I believe you're calling him by his incorrect name. You're referring, I believe, to the Submariner, as he was almost exclusively called.
Oh, right. But the only thing I know about Namor is that he has the hots for Sue Storm.
Yes.
And I know the MCU's brought him in Wakanda Forever.
Yes, the latest Black Panther film. Yeah, they did him there. Where they insisted on calling him Namor, which blows my fucking mind. So the Submariner is kind of to Aquaman what GoBots are to Transformers. Definitely, he was there first, but one clearly took off way more than the other. He was there
significantly, significantly longer.
Yeah,
because Aquaman was debuted literally the same issue as Green Arrow.
Yeah. So we have the Submariner and the original Human Torch on the cover here. We're doing some more flashbacks. There are a lot of flashbacks in this book, obviously. At the start of this issue, we get this is our first time that our heroes become very aware of one General Lucan, who is obviously involved in all this. But the bulk of this issue, in fact, almost the entirety of this issue, is one giant flashback, and you can just tell that Brubaker kind of loves writing the golden age of Marvel, or what would become Marvel, in the style of like an actual like classic war flick. I kind of love it. It's something he doesn't just do in this issue. Like he does a lot in like the entire run. And I don't know. Is this a style that you're into at all, Jacob or Kestrel?
I really liked it. Can you guys still hear me? I had to switch earbuds.
Oh, you're good.
Oh yeah, no, you are coming through great.
Yep. Awesome. My one earbud was dying.
We should say we mentioned the Kronastion, which is a small Russian village not too far from Stalingrad. That's not there anymore. That leads us into our big flashback.
Yeah, and it brings up Kaprov. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The Soviet guy.
Yeah, Karpov.
Yeah. I find it really interesting too, because like in this, he's like a big deal. In the MCU, he gets like 10 minutes of screen time in Civil War, and he is never brought up again.
Wait, was he in Civil War?
So, yes, he is. I believe specifically he's the guy who wakes up Bucky in the very beginning, who orders the assassination of Howard Stark.
Yes.
And then it's been a few years since I've seen Civil War, so I may not be clear on this, but he might be the guy that Zemo waterboards. I don't remember specifically if that's him.
I think that sounds right, because isn't that where Zemo gets the sleeper agent codes from? Yes. Like, okay,
he waterboards a Soviet. I can't remember if it's Karpov or not. I'm pretty sure it is, or maybe it's Lucan. I don't remember, but
the MCU likes to treat all of its Soviet characters as faceless monolith. Like,
yeah.
This is also, I will say, interesting thing about this flashback. We got to see, hey, Bucky was a child soldier, so let's actually examine what the fuck that would look like.
Yeah.
Very specifically, he was meant to do, I even write it in my notes, he was trained to operate in the shadows. He was trained to do the dark stuff that Cap couldn't do.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. Oh, God. Good stuff.
And there was a whole bunch of child soldiers, because Toro was one too, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. We get in addition to great action sequences, we get literal torture throughout this issue. In a scene where we're trying to get information,
and the U.S. and USSR armies burn a village off see a village burnt off the map, like with a giant ray gun, like that's what happens. That is a thing that happens in this book.
Yeah,
it's also interesting. Again, you have Namor here.
He's just there.
He's there.
He's just there.
Hits out in the Russian snow.
Because he's a fucking legend.
I do really like when Steve is talking to Namor. I really want to call him Namor like they do in the MCU. I will say it does kind of make sense in my brain because like in Wakanda Forever you see Telecon has like a Aztec theming, so like I guess it makes sense. But like I think even Steve makes a point to ask him because he's like, I saw Toro shivering. Are you guys like good?
yeah.
You're just like, no, we're fine. I'm like, you are in Soviet Russia wearing just a Speedo, my guy.
You are wearing less clothing than Dick Grayson.
Oh, I love it. But he's fine. He's fine.
Wearing a Speedo. What do you mean you'll live?
We see this entire town wiped off the map, and again, barely any like epilogue afterwards. Like the entire issue is this big flashback. It's a great issue. I really like it.
There's also this whole idea of like, we Russians have nothing but our winter, while you have death rays and super soldiers, and it's like, I wonder if that's going to come back to bite us in the ass later.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway,
we have our winter and our soldiers. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Hint. Because we do end the issue with I'm checking to make sure is this character Maria Hill?
No. This is not Maria Hill.
No, it is. I have it open right now.
Someone named Teresa.
Okay. Well, it gives Nick Fury a classified file on someone called the Winter Soldier.
Dun dun dun. Bringing us into Captain America number 6.
I will say, with a very specific line of it's like,
I want to be
no,
sure.
I didn't show him the file. Yeah, I wanted to be sure before I destroy his entire world. Like,
oh god. Going into Captain America number 6. First off, gorgeous cover. Have you seen the reverse of this cover, Jacob? The variant of this?
No, what's the variant? Is it
the variant? I think is it included in the epic at the end? It might be.
It is. I just checked.
Okay. The Bucky version of the cover. Oh god, it's so good. I love that cover, man. The two, because in the epic also they include them side by side and they look so nice. This is also the end of the first arc of this trade with Out of Time Part 6, which is nice. Getting into this, we have
our mysterious Winter Soldier is setting up
some guys.
Bombs. He's got a scapegoat, aka Jack Monroe, and poor Sharon is
tied up in a trunk of a car. Nick Fury is preparing to help Cap deal with all this.
Because they know Sharon is missing, and it's like that's not right. Something's wrong.
I will say too, one thing that like it's one of those things. I knew it was a thing, but it's just weird to see it in the comics, and I have it in my notes underneath. I just wrote Bucky time in all caps. I'm very normal.
I love
anyway,
it.
Like one thing I always forget, like, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, like, you're right in that, like Brubaker just kind of like hold off on really letting the Winter Soldier as a character be a big part of the story. Honestly, up to this point, Bucky Barnes, the child, has shown up more than the Winter Soldier.
So. But like, I always forget how much more lucid he is in the comics as the Winter Soldier, because like. And I'm sure we'll get into it later when we actually cover how they made the Winter Soldier. But just like, he's just like a dude with amnesia in this, where in the MCU, he was like very specifically tortured into becoming a shell of a man. And I don't know, it's just really weird because like, in this, I mean, I don't think it's a huge spoiler to know that like he had a relationship with Natasha in the comics, and they're actually really cute. But like I don't know, it was very weird because I'm like, oh, he has like thoughts and feelings, kind of a little bit at least in this, whereas the Winter Soldier we see in the MCU is just a husk. And I think both of them have their merits, but like in terms of story and everything, but it's it was interesting to me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, totally. Meanwhile, Steve is in the English Channel, and is dealing with more flashbacks, sort of trying to reckon with his inconsistent memories that he's been dealing with.
Specifically at the place where he died, which is I'm guessing this was Baron Zemo's. This was like Zemo's castle.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, people. Well, I don't want to say people. Americans, because of our education system, aren't really taught that the Nazis made it onto British soil. Like, they held Channel Islands throughout the war. Like, there was very much a chance that the Nazis could have won completely. Like, maybe we should not let that happen again.
Jacob,
it'd be nice.
You're trying to imply right now that the Nazis are back, and I just don't think that's true.
No. I'm implying that they never went away.
I love it. Anyway, so yeah, Steve dealing with false memories. Literally just
getting shot by his false memories.
Yeah, getting shot by false memories.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is this actually happening?
It is drawn like it's actually happening, but it's really just Steve is fucked up in the head. And
literally the very first note I wrote in my notebook, just issue 1, is just, God, Steve Rogers is really going through it, huh?
yeah.
And totally. I love it. It just kept going.
Yeah. So we see then in Steve's returning memories, seeing things as they were, the true death of Bucky Barnes. So this is the version that Stan Lee first portrayed, albeit slightly different because it was all more sensational, let's say, and they were all still in costumes, and it was much less Steve is watching this child getting horribly blown up by it was being stuck to an airplane, and more. I mean,
so there's a thing called the Comics Code Authority that had to be adhered to in the 1960s.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to like say this in a way that like doesn't make it sound like Stan Lee didn't actually treat the moment with gravity, because he did. He totally did.
I would argue a very different type of gravity because he was writing in the 1960s. Like,
yeah, totally.
Also, like, you do have to remember, like, at that point, comic books were still kind of, for the younger demographic.
The Comics Code Authority was just as cruel mistress as the Hays Code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, horrifying moment. I love the way Brubaker portrays it in this. And
then you see the explosion reflected in Steve's eye, and it's
oh god, so good, so good,
so good.
So, Steve memories returned, or sort of sorted in his head, begins to leave. Steve, I don't know, psychically senses that.
Gets a psychic premonition that Sharon's in danger. What?
It's a strange moment. It's a strange moment.
This is my first indication. Was Brubaker then told that he was going to lose an issue to a tie-in? I feel like he was told he was losing an issue to a tie-in at this point, knowing how comic cycles work.
Certainly possible. It's certainly possible.
When I got the psychic premonition thing, I could at least blame it with what we know later about what they're doing with the cosmic cube. I'm like, maybe we could just blame that on, Steve Rogers' brain being fucked with by the cosmic cube. And
that's
just,
certainly possible. That's
whenever there's something weird in Marvel, we'll just say a cosmic cube did it.
Cosmic cube did it because the cosmic cube
Infinity Stone.
But yeah, we then so Steve in leaving contacts Nick Fury, and Nick is like, yeah, Sharon's in danger, and Steve is like, I know, and it's like, all right, sure. I don't really know.
There's something else I need to tell you, and it's really important. It's like, no time, Nick. I've got to save my woman, basically. And it's like,
yeah,
it's like you really need to know this, Steve. Like,
yeah.
What did you say earlier about Steve Rogers almost knowing he's in a comic book?
it's like no, you almost know it. Again, some amazing
You're so close, buddy. You're so close.
He goes to save Sharon. Sharon says, "You don't understand, Steve. The guy we've been hunting, the man who killed the Red Skull. I've seen him." And then, for the first time, we see him in full. We see the Winter Soldier himself. Look at that beautiful man. Look at that beautiful man.
My boy.
But yeah, we understand immediately.
My note for this one just says, "My boy."
My boy, my little Hercules. But yeah, we understand immediately that that Bucky is taking the Winter Soldier is taking orders from General Lucan.
But also like, I think it's Bucky. Bum bum bum. You think that would be a cliffhanger?
But then it gets worse.
Yeah, but it keeps going. It's like so. Okay,
so the Winter Soldiers. I'm going to keep saying this because now we're in the point where he's actually part of the story, and now I feel like I should preserve the secret for some reason, and I wasn't before. But anyway,
like by the time he's in the actual story proper, they've already revealed it. Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. Bucky's bomb goes off, and my God, it's devastating. People die, and
people.
Yeah. We end the issue with showing Lucan with the cosmic cube. Sort of big. This is the end of the first arc of the volume. Like, it's still a big cliffhanger, and we're gonna take really I would say the separation of arcs is really so we can have this issue in between, this interlude, if you will.
You mean the best issue of the collection?
You're absolutely correct. Interlude, the lonesome death of Jack Monroe. Oh God. God. Fuck. Where to begin?
This broke me.
It's Jane Foster. Well, first it's he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah. He's yeah. We
died alone.
Yeah. That's it is. It's already a sad idea. But then we're gonna go back and give Jack Monroe more of a character, and at least make the audience understand why this is a significant moment. And there's something I think significant also to, I think, giving the character this history for the audience.
Is some of it is Brubaker commenting on. Yeah. Is also Brubaker commenting on just like the post sidekick world where like you have sidekicks trying to have their new identities and they don't really stick, so they kind of just become D-list characters in a C-lister's book, because sadly, Captain America is kind of a B-C-lister. Like, the MCU made a lot of Marvel characters popular.
Yeah. So you mean specifically at the time? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Like at the time that this is publishing, because this is 2004, 2005. Iron Man isn't out yet. Like,
yeah. So
Marvel is still like going bankrupt.
Marvel isn't going bankrupt. They've sold enough assets, and the Spider-Man trilogy has happened. The X-Men movies.
The Spider-Man 3 isn't out yet at this time.
Fine. The two, in terms of the public eye, the two good Spider-Man movies are out.
Yeah.
And the two good X-Men movies are out. I'm not going to defend Last Stand. Come fight me, Andrew.
You're
Come
correct.
fight me, Andrew.
Last Stand, bad movie. But
the only straight X-Men movie I've seen is, I think I saw Wolverine 2 a little while ago. The one with Deadpool in it.
Okay.
Wait. Hang on. Which one with Deadpool?
Sorry. Do you mean X-Men?
The shitty Deadpool one.
Okay.
No!
That's the first Wolverine movie.
Where Wade Wilson has no mouth and he must scream.
Oh god.
So a bad movie that my dad likes for some reason.
Jacob. I already don't like your parents enough.
Like I've seen Deadpool, the Deadpools, obviously. Deadpool 2, my beloved, and then Deadpool the first was actually my first R-rated movie.
Nice.
And like I saw Logan, but like I had no frame of reference for the character.
I feel like
I watched Wolverine 2.
I feel like you can enjoy Logan on its own. It's such a great film.
Absolutely, it destroyed me.
I'd say I'd love to be able to say check out all the other X-Men movies, but they are
Jacob. I will say this every single time that someone is Jacob. Why must you destroy your microphone? What did you just do?
I dropped my phone.
Oh my god, Jacob! No. I'm not cutting this. People are sitting through that.
Okay, anyway. I'm sorry. No, the X-Men movies are the definition of a mixed bag.
No, Jacob, I will say this. I would so much sooner recommend like all 13 Fox era X-Men movies than like an entire rewatch of the MCU. Because if nothing else, I think the X-Men movies are so fucking creative. Like even when they're shit, it's just like there's something interesting there. Like
it helps that they aren't under the thumb of Papa Disney and they can actually
just the definition of like anti-cookie cutter Marvel movies. They're so interesting.
That's how I feel about a lot of what they're doing on Disney Plus right now.
I agree. I like most of the MCU Disney Plus shows.
Right. Okay, my favorite underrated gem is Werewolf by Night. I love it. I adore it.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
It's so fun.
So good.
Agatha all along, my beloved.
Oh man, seriously, I've liked most of the Disney Plus shows. I've also I enjoyed almost the entirety of MCU phases 4 and 5 because I don't know, I like when the MCU is just kind of letting projects do their own thing and not constantly trying to build up to one big Infinity War level crossover again. And I like it. They feel more like comics to me that way, and I don't know. Anyway,
we need to get back to the best issue of this thing and how depressing it is.
God,
because
you.
So
you do, oh my
Jack Monroe has superhero AIDS. Like that's what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Yeah. You're right, and I hate that you're right.
It's the. And he has like a year to live.
Mm-hmm.
And he's decided that despite the hell that his life has been, he's going to try to deal with it and still live this last year of his life.
Yeah.
He's going to go see his daughter that is also nicknamed Bucky. I know this is like the most tragic comic, but I will say the fact that his daughter is also nicknamed Bucky did make me laugh a little.
It is incredibly funny. We get flashbacks though. We get Jack's whole backstory in his time as Bucky, and it's interesting. It really is.
We get his time as Nomad, and his time as. But it's like he wasn't even the first Nomad; he was the second Nomad.
He couldn't even be the first Scourge, as he puts it. Like Jack Monroe. This is it's so interesting because there are characters like this that exist all throughout comics history from the two big publishers, and like Jack Monroe is a character because of all of his identities is a character without an identity, and he as a person feels that.
Once again, it's Brubaker literally commenting on the nature of comics and the fact that it's like we're trying to push characters, like we're trying to make them a thing, even though like this is someone who isn't really a thing.
Yeah, we are in the era of the century.
Oh shit, you're right.
We are. Yep. Yeah. New Avengers is about to happen at this time. So
I always forget. I keep forgetting that character exists, and you keep reminding me.
You are correct. And also, the Century in a few months is about to make his MCU debut. So
I'm really excited.
Oh
I am
no!
so cautiously stoked for Thunderbolts. I don't know if you understand.
Oh, okay.
I'm just excited.
Okay. It's fair that you're excited for Thunderbolts. No, I would be just concerned if you were excited for the Sentry.
I was gonna say,
No.
if you're excited for the Sentry, I will go. I will come down to where you live and make sure you are okay. Because
God no. The reason I am excited is the reason you invited me to guest on the podcast. I'm getting my boy back.
It is the Bucky Barnes of it all.
Hell yeah.
The Bucky Barnes, also the Yelena Belova. I do also really love Yelena.
I mean, Florence Pugh.
I just love Florence Pugh. That's
that too. That's the main part of it.
She's wonderful.
I like Yelena as a character, but also Florence Pugh. Need I say more?
I was gonna say, I believe that's what we call in the business bisexual panic.
Yeah. Regardless of regardless of the quality of this movie, which I cautiously have hope. It's just going to be a very pretty movie to look at.
For you specifically.
On account of all the pretty people in it, yes.
Yeah, a win for the bisexuals everywhere.
So true. Anyway.
When Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth were in Men in Black International together. That movie, but God, they're pretty.
Oh no. Anyway, Jack Monroe's life is depressing. Oh god. Again, identity crisis. A man that literally does not know how to exist in a world where everyone has forgotten him. He just kind of tries to find purpose in life by continuing to be nomad in his final months, really.
Taking down drug dealers who were threatening his daughter's school.
Oh my god. That final reveal destroyed. I know I keep saying this, but it broke me.
Yeah.
With what the drug dealers actually, it hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt my soul.
So, yeah, and it really is a lonely death.
Yeah, because the issue ends just kind of where our story with Jack Monroe began. It is just him sitting in a bar, being approached by Bucky, not as the Winter Soldier, but Jack, because he is so far gone, sees Bucky as Bucky Barnes, the child soldier. Who kills him?
Seeing him being shot by himself, metaphorically.
Yeah. And that's that. We begin the second half, or the second arc of this book, with Captain America number 8. The arc is actually called The Winter Soldier, so that's nice to finally have.
My boy!
My boy is in there! For all
literally
two people that get that reference.
I am so annoying about Bucky. I don't think you guys understand.
I mean, I think we've understood for the past 2 hours at least, because we're only halfway through the book and we're 2 hours into the episode. So there's that.
Will this be our longest episode?
No.
Maybe.
No way. I will stamp that shit out immediately. Captain America number 8. Opening on a flashback of some Soviets finding something.
Finding out that, holy shit, Captain America is dead? And it's like, well, how far are the Channel Islands? we could do something like this. The bookends of this issue are haunting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We then go back to the present day. Steve, once very much in the same. I mean, Brubaker is clearly trying to reflect Steve's reaction to the Red Skull's death with Steve's reaction to this. Steve does not believe that Bucky is back. He doesn't want to believe that Bucky is back. That Bucky ever survived,
and could possibly be responsible for Philadelphia last night, which we then get to see all the explosions and the fire and the death. And
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It does have my absolute favorite panel in it, though, and I felt really bad for laughing. because it quite literally has the "Who the hell is Bucky" line, and I just have in my notes. I have in my notes Peter Griffin voice. He said it. He said the thing.
No! Oh God, no! Oh man! Oh fuck! But yeah, we see the mayhem of the bomb going off. We see Cap versus a bunch of AIM soldiers and another group that we do not get that we can assume are working alongside the Winter Soldier.
They're the MODOK squad.
Mm-hmm.
The military operations designed only for combat.
So, Jacob, do you know who the character MODOK is?
That is a character with a K. That's not a character with a C.
Yes, but but like the name MODOK stands for basically that same thing, but instead of combat, it stands for killing. And so that's what this is a reference to.
I hate that my camera's off because my face is going through journeys this entire goddamn episode.
I want to watch Jacob go through all 5 stages of grief in 1 minute.
Joey has seen that repeatedly.
God, what was the episode where we just kind of gave up and turned on our cameras? I can't remember. There was a pretty recent one, and now I can't remember which one it was.
I don't remember.
Who knows?
I think my cat was being cute.
I don't know. It might have been that.
But anyway, we get some very important things that it's like, hey, so basically, we think Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, is the KGB secret weapon.
Famously dead kid is now a live man and
has been going in and out of stasis every so often. Only been alive for maybe 5 years.
He's been going in and out of stasis. So he's only aged just enough. So he's roughly your age now, Steve.
Yeah. So he's roughly your age. This isn't going to cause anyone to try to ship you two. We swear.
It's fine. It's fine.
So actually, it's kind of interesting. Just I'm on Tumblr, which I'm sure is not surprising. When people talk about comic Steve and Bucky, like people actually get really defensive of people that like ship Steve and Bucky because they're like, don't use. Very specifically, I see a lot of people get really angry when people try to use comics Steve Bucky stuff to justify shipping MCU because they're like, no, he was a child. He was 16. He's only 4 years younger than Steve. But like, it's interesting because like, no, people in the comics are actually very anti-shipping them in the comics.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I guess I'm fine with it as long as you're not shipping Steve with the actual child. Like if you're like, oh yeah, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, that's fine. You know, like I don't really care about that. You know,
by this point, I don't see anything wrong with it, but as like you said, when they first meet each other when they're 16 and 20, that's frowned upon.
It's a little thing. Though I should say, it's mainly because creepy. It's mainly because Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan have a certain chemistry. Like
they do.
Jacob, I'm sorry. My heterosexual brain can only understand that Haley Atwell is hot, and I can't move past that. My brain can't compute any more than that, and that's it.
My bisexual brain says Steve Rogers has 2 hands.
That's true. That's true.
There is actually some very cute fan art of Steve, Bucky, Peggy being shipped together. It's very rare, but occasionally I'll see it, and it's very cute. I don't ship Bucky with anybody really, so I just as I explained to my friends, I reblog whatever fan art I think is cute, regardless of pairing.
Jacob, I didn't realize how much I never realized how much I wanted somebody who is actively in the Tumblr sphere to be a guest on this podcast.
It's almost like I know what I'm doing when I suggest guests.
But no, what you're doing when you suggest guests is you create 2.5-hour episodes.
This is sadly true.
We're gonna have a podcast episode that is longer than the Winter Soldier movie.
So for real.
Oh yes. Where were we?
Good God. Okay. Captain America actually sees the Winter Soldier in these flashbacks to the night before. We get the who the hell is Bucky line.
And it hurt. Okay. So here's the thing. I am nowhere. So I think have I talked about Bathos as a... Let's talk about Joss Whedon dialogue.
Okay.
Because this gets reinterpreted as Joss Whedon dialogue, hashtag derisively, even though Joss Whedon, piece of shit human being.
Unfortunately, great
writer.
filmmaker.
He's a very good writer.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit, and that's the problem.
These things can unfortunately both be true.
And sometimes it hurts you to your very core.
Yeah.
I take it you are also still reconciling Neil Gaiman, Jacob.
So Kess doesn't know this because we. Oh,
yeah.
God, okay.
So we were supposed to do a Sandman episode, and we decided okay. When we were discussing
so I was making the schedule. Because I know everything ahead of Jacob because I'm the guy that makes the schedule and everything.
And I read all of Sandman. That was one of the things where it's like I want to do this podcast because I read Sandman, and that sort of was my gateway drug. Because...
But so we've done a Sandman episode previously, but that was literal years ago. And so this shit hadn't come out yet. And so fairly recently, I said to Jacob, I was like, before he knew that I planned another Sandman episode, I was like, hey, after the Neil Gaiman shit came out, I was like, hey, Jacob, do we want to hold off on more Sandman for now? And he was like, yes, absolutely. And so I replaced Sandman. I think, rightfully with Gail Simone Batgirl, which was a great choice on my part, I think.
But also, it was also the right choice because this was even before we had the allegations confirmed by an outlet that wasn't...
Yeah.
I'll say it. Wasn't TERFs. Wasn't just TERFs trying to say fuck trans people and didn't actually care about the victims of sexual assault.
Yeah.
It was a weird week on Tumblr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really hard.
Anyway,
actual information.
My point about Joss Whedon dialogue is this: "Who the hell is Bucky?" line is you can read it as like Whedon-esque, except it really isn't. It is meant to be read entirely straight. It's not a quip. It is
it's
this
fully genuine.
Oh yeah.
It is framed as genuine. It partially because of Epting's brilliant use of this very regimented layout is perfectly delivered.
Mm-hmm. And I love even more so go ahead.
Even when it gets, because again, my main frame of reference for Bucky is, MCU. Even in the movie, it's played completely straight. Like, don't get me wrong, we on Tumblr clown on it all the time because it's very funny in meme format. But also, no, it's completely straight. He doesn't know that he's Bucky. It's like, not,
You just said Bucky Barnes was completely straight. That's what I heard. Just so I can confirm that. Just so I can confirm that came out of your mouth. Just so I'm aware. So
I love it's played completely straight.
But I love you even more though. But I love even more than straight.
I am a Bucky is bisexual truther.
What I love even more though is this when we go back to the present day afterwards, and this very minimal dialogue moment of just Steve rationalizing it, saying, "I don't know what I saw," and then he just smashes the screen that he's looking at the photo of Bucky on.
Because, as we all know, denial is a river in Egypt.
Yes.
That is, I'm like, I had that in my notes, and I'm like, Steve is in so much denial.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's really interesting, too, because, again, not to immediately go back to the MCU for a second, but I just find it interesting, because granted the Winter Soldier reveal is handled differently in there, but Steve's just fully on board to be like, yep, nope, that's my dead best friend.
Yeah.
He got
better. He got better.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is...
but also,
Yeah, it's wonderfully followed up on... It's wonderfully followed up on by the bookend to the issue, though, where we catch back up with our Soviets, who have now entered the English Channel back in the 40s, who find the body of Bucky Barnes, now armless, and
Captain Carver says, it is hope, my friend, for the future.
God,
we might be able to get some super serum shit out of this, or American technology.
I like your semi voice, semi like putting on a voice whenever you read the lines of Russian characters, Jacob.
I'm trying not to just go too stereotypical Russian.
It's really great. I really appreciate it. You should go more stereotypical. So.
Oh my god, it's very funny because there's this TikTok project. There's a YouTuber I really like. He's called Nightmine. He does like covers of ARGs and stuff. And there was a TikTok one. It's called like Michaeli 17 or something, and it's like footage from this game show with just the worst Russian accents you have ever heard voice acting in.
Oh,
and like
God.
it's genuinely a really cool unfiction project, but no, it's just so funny because it starts and this guy's, I forget what it is, but he's like hammering metal. It's like, Michaeli, you have managed to hit metal 17 times. It's awful and it's so funny.
I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space! Anyway, Captain America #9. So, we're doing something here that isn't really going to pay off until the next volume. But thankfully, that's the next thing we're reading, so we don't have to worry about this not paying off at all.
You don't have the danger of me forgetting all of the setup when we cover it, because
exactly.
That sadly has happened.
You've forgotten a very important thing, and that's that I have the memory of a goldfish.
That's fair. But yeah, we open on a secure government re-education facility, and it's Crossbones.
I will say my notes is like, I wonder if Brubaker's trying to say things about, like, I don't know, Guantanamo Bay, maybe a little bit.
Jacob, what you're trying to do right now is imply that comics are political, and we all know that that's simply not true.
No, this has no deeper meaning. This has no deeper
meaning.
One of these days, we are going to get someone who genuinely believes that you believe this bit, Joey.
Yeah, that's I think there's an actual danger of that happening someday, and I'm concerned. But also, I think that would actually make it funnier in my eyes, so I really don't care.
It's a similar energy to people thinking that people not realizing that The Boys is about them.
Yeah. Oh God, classic.
The Amazon show specifically, not the comics. I don't know anything about the comics, but
the comics are.
Crossbones.
Garth Ennis is an actual king, as Jacob has realized recently, and
but he's also Garth Ennis. So.
He's also Garth Ennis. Anyway, so Crossbones is stealing a girl from a government re-education facility.
Which, you know what? I'm going to reveal who this character is because they reveal it by the end of the issue. It's the Red Skull's daughter. Like,
oh yeah, Jacob. Red Menace is about to get fucking insane. I cannot wait to read this shit.
I'd love to say I'm surprised that someone saw that and decided, yeah, I'd hit that.
But have you seen the cover of the trade for Red Menace?
I have not. Remember, I just got this in Epic, so like it's the cover. I want to say cover of. I think that's what the Winter. Also, the Winter Soldier cover. They used the issue 1 cover, or
yeah.
Oh well, no.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong cover. Oh, okay, sorry. There's a different cover within the issues of Red Menace. That look. Just we're gonna have things to say about this character. Anyway, all right. Totally irrelevant for now. We catch back up with Captain America, who is doing things. Is talking. We have him going with Shield,
specifically to raid the Kronas Corporation, and the day before. Steve, being a true gentleman of the 1940s, like, I'd really like you to take Sharon off the mission because I don't want her dead. Even though, Sharon is not the MCU version of her character. She's a badass. Like,
Black Widow. Like, she's not a Black Widow, but she's essentially like on the same level as Natasha in terms of badassery.
What she can do.
I mean, as was rightfully pointed out in, I think, our group chat, that like what they essentially did to adapt this story into a movie is they gave Sharon's role to Black Widow, and
which for adapting this to a film in a pre-established continuity that needs to start with a relationship, Steve having a relationship with someone in the modern day.
Okay,
makes perfect sense.
To be fair, though, also like to simply say a relative of the woman he was in love with from the first movie, I don't think it's that much of a stretch. Like you could have easily established that character early on. Like
you could have, but I'm just thinking from the baffling decision.
You ever think about how weird that pairing is in a post-Endgame universe?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that's because they didn't have a plan for Endgame, obviously. Because
Jacob,
why would they?
Jacob, the Infinity Saga was all planned out from the very beginning, and
no, it wasn't. Joss Whedon just tossed in a Thanos cameo because he thought Thanos was cool. Like,
Jacob, I think what you're implying is that Endgame is a bad movie, and we know that that's not true.
You know what's okay?
You guys all know that I am not being
to be fair, I like Endgame actually.
If Endgame has 0 haters, then I am dead.
Oh damn!
I am not an Endgame fan. I once explained it back when I was on Twitter. It was one of those things where it's like, why do you hate this so much? And then it's like, I'm glad you asked. Voice memo 2 hours long. It was literally like a 27 tweet thread on why I hated Endgame so much.
Wow. I have some big problems with Endgame and the actual filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. I think
we will talk about it when we cover the Infinity, like the Infinity. I was gonna say the Infinity Saga, but that's the name of the MCU arc.
Yeah, no, Infinity Gauntlet is the story you're thinking of. Yeah,
the one that they're adapting. Essentially,
or sorry, the one that they're biggest fucking air quotes imaginable adapting,
and still fucking over Jim Starlin.
Awful.
It's in the words of Dominic Noble, in name only.
Yeah. Well, even they didn't even call it Infinity Gauntlet.
There also was an event called Infinity War.
Yeah, there's Infinity War. Yeah,
there was Infinity War.
Yeah.
And Endgame is clearly we want to end the MCU, but then they didn't.
Yeah. And again, also, if it just kind of kept doing what it was doing in like Phase 4 and just letting characters go off and tell their own individual stories and think people do individual things and just be like comics, that would be great.
I guess I'll hug my beloved. I know that wasn't Phase 4, but that's what they did. I think they really should have kept Thanos' motivation to be that he wanted to bone Death.
I mean, and when Death is Aubrey Plaza, I mean, come on.
And also a lesbian. Yeah. I think it would have made Thanos' motivation even funnier, personally.
True, that she's not in. That'd be great.
Yeah, I really like the idea. I was talking about this on Tumblr where I'm like, they keep that motivation and like Rio just comes up and is like, dude, I said I wasn't interested. I am gay. Take a hint.
God, I love it. Anyway, back to the comic. Yes. Okay. So Steve wants Sharon off the mission. Steve.
It's still very much like Steve is still denial. River in Egypt. It's like no, it wasn't his voice. He can't be Bucky. It wouldn't be Bucky. Bucky would never. So Shield is doing some shady shit. Because we're slowly doing some more flashbacks, like to a couple days ago. Where it's basically so Kronos is like trying to take shit over, including in America. Also, like it's run by a mass murderer who's a terrorist. How can he be in charge of a giant corporation? And I'm like, well,
have I got some?
I wonder if Brubaker is making some commentary on the current state of the United States of America in 2005.
Jacob, you
my God,
fool.
He was trying to warn us.
You fool, Jacob. Anyway,
he was trying to warn us.
But we have after Cronus and big action sequence. We have Lucan here on the inside of the building.
I'll say some great like quippy dialogue between Steve and Sharon of just like it's like, yeah, you two. I fully believe that you are exes who are like trying to find an excuse not to get back together. Like, as
I understand it, they're back together in the comics, which I think I do like their relationship in the comics. The little bit I know about it.
Yeah, apparently, she's usually Steve's main love interest, which is smart.
Again, we'll get into more things next time. You'll see. But yeah,
they end up attacking what turns out to be a business meeting.
Yeah,
and Steve is like, "Where is Bucky?" Basically, like.
Mm-hmm. It is quite funny. I mean, look, do we say the twist now? Because Steve is yelling at Lucan at one point, and he's like, "Where is he? Where's Bucky? What's going on?" And like, I'm gonna say the twist now. He's yelling at Red Skull right now.
Yeah,
and it's
or a Red Skull, because I don't think Lucan is that Red Skull. Like,
well,
yes,
yeah.
Is he? It was very implied that the cube was corrupting him, and making him a Red Skull.
Let me double check what the last page of the trade says.
I think of it in like, not to drag Five Nights at Freddy's into this in the year of our Lord 2025.
I was going to go with Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, but okay, we can go that direction.
You know how in like Security Breach, William Afton's conscience got like uploaded to the internet or whatever?
I don't. I'm.
I envy you.
Do I?
Okay. No, looking at the end here again. Oh, no. They revealed enough. Yeah, no, he's yelling at the Red Skull right now. So
he's possessed.
Oh. So it is really Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin, kind of, sort of, a little bit.
Yes. First, we attack his heart. So, I mean, I guess literally. My God. Anyway, so Cap and Shield are kind of awkwardly escorted out of this meeting. We get some hints. Lucan with the cosmic cube again, and
he's like, besides, I need to use the cube for a few small things.
Yeah, a few small things. And
just talk for a moment about how he like casually brings up that he turned a guy into a woman at one point with the cosmic cube.
I mean, Red Skull says trans rights. Come on, what more do you want?
Situation, but okay. I was just like, I was sitting there and I was like, can we circle back to that real quick? And also, can I borrow the cosmic cube real quick? Just not important why.
So Steve leaves. Steve and Shield leave, and then we end our issue with the thing that Jacob already said about Crossbones telling this woman that she is the daughter of the Red Skull. Once again, won't be relevant for a little bit yet, but still, that is that.
And to jump ahead an issue because
we don't need more crossover shit right now. Although, for those listening, you should check out our videos on X-Man Hunt because it was a great event. I swear.
I don't think they're all out yet.
X-Man Hunt Omega is out, and so yeah.
Oh, so there. I forgot that Uncanny wasn't part of the event.
Yep. Yeah. So all 8 of our videos on that event are out now, and it was a great event. I should make a playlist just for the X-Man Hunt.
You should, because that was
because I did it for Night Terrors. I did it for Absolute Power. I should just do it for this. So yeah. Anyway, Captain America number 11. Great cover.
Very much the parallel of we had Cap against a white background, but the past now we got to do Bucky.
Yep, Bucky on full display, and you gotta love it. So
can I just say I find the design of the arm kind of weird? Not like the metal arm itself, because that's fairly like standard, but just the weird wire it has coming off of it. That feels like it would be inconvenient.
Yeah,
just feels like it'd get caught on a lot of stuff.
We haven't streamlined the Winter Soldier design yet for MCU purposes, so now it's this. But yeah, after a brief opening scene with Lucan,
who is becoming Gollum,
mm-hmm.
but for the cosmic cube, like.
Mm-hmm. We then catch up with Steve Rogers, who's going back to his apartment and sees a confidential file on his desk about on his table about the Winter Soldier. And we then get the rest of the issue, which is the entire backstory of the Winter Soldier and Bucky.
Once again, there's so many things where I feel like this run was interrupted by other events. Like,
I don't know. I feel like this is always kind of the way this backstory is meant to come out.
Yeah, I feel like it fits.
It fits. It's very good, but
can I just say I lived my entire life my entire Marvel fandom life believing that in the comics the Winter Soldier is responsible for the Kennedy assassination, and apparently that's not a fucking thing.
That is not a thing. That is absolutely not a thing.
I was so angry. I was told that he did. I've also heard in the MCU that he was, but the only place I have ever seen that is on the Marvel Wiki, and it's like a weird Ouroboros of misinformation.
You know what Marvel movie character is responsible for the Kennedy assassination, though?
Who?
Magneto in the Fox X-Men movies.
I was gonna say
because John F. Kennedy in that universe was a mutant, and in trying to stop, what is it? Magneto was like trying to stop the assassination of Kennedy, but he really caused it by. Sorry. If he was framed for it, he really tried to save Kennedy, because Kennedy was one of them. He was a mutant as well. It's so fucking weird, and I love it.
I just looked up on the Marvel Wiki. In one version, in one timeline where JFK was resurrected as a zombie, it is implied that he told Deadpool in his dying breath that the shot came from in the car. Deadpool believed that Jackie Kennedy was the shooter.
Amazing. I love it.
I had this. I think I told Jacob this, or I mentioned it in the group chat. I always find it delightful when comic universes have their own canonical grand man on the grassy knoll. Like, I know in Watchmen, it's the comedian. I think in The Boys, at least in the Amazon show, it's Soldier Boy. And I always assumed that Bucky was the Marvels. I was shocked to learn that he was not.
I find it hilarious that in the Doctor Who universe, there are at least 3 incarnations of the Doctor present at the Kennedy assassination.
It's true.
Like,
God, I need to watch old school Doctor Who.
How great is the novel Who Killed Kennedy? It's so good.
It's great. Yeah, 3 is in the book depository as it's happening. 9 is in the crowd, and I think 7 is fucking around out there somewhere because it's 7.
Unhinged.
Anyway, Winter Soldier backstory. We essentially get it's essentially logs of the various tests they did on Bucky.
Fully portraying the experiments as the horror show that they are. Like,
oh yeah.
Like how pissed they were that he doesn't have the super soldier serum.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And that's something that's always just wild to me in the comics, is that like Bucky is truly just a guy.
He's just fucking built different.
I believe he does get some iteration of something later because he almost dies and Nick Fury saves him. But at this point, like, he's truly just a guy who can shoot and fight pretty well. Like, It's wild.
Yeah. But yeah, we get a lot of field tests taking him out, showing how they're eventually the sort of like conditioning in Bucky starts to deteriorate.
They did do some brainwashing. I don't think they don't apply any sleeper agent activations because it's just like, no, we just like, he already had amnesia from being blown the fuck up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he doesn't need the sleeper agent stuff because he essentially had no memory of anything when he woke up.
That said, to be honest, I do actually like the MCU thing of the sleeper agent thing. I just think it works. It's cool. I like it.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I find the MCU. I find MCU Winter Soldier and how they made him fascinating too. Like, I like this one too a lot, obviously, but I don't know, just the MCU one. It's interesting, you know. I'm sure we'll talk about the movie, but
yeah.
He becomes responsible for several assassinations.
Mm-hmm. Not JFK.
Not JFK.
And I'll die angry about it.
I'll die even angrier that they didn't try to kill Reagan. Like,
right? You could have just put it in there. There was a failed assassination attempt on Reagan. That could have worked.
But there's also some stuff like, yeah, he started to go rogue, so it's like, well, we gotta
time to put you in the forever cryo.
I think it's interesting too that, like, after that, like, 2 weeks where he ends up going rogue, like, his entire thing was they got him because, like, he could be a spy in America or whatever. And then after that, like, 2 weeks where he goes rogue, they're like, maybe we shouldn't send him to America anymore. Thus, screwing up his entire reason for existing.
Oh, yeah. And my God, I love love the note this issue ends on. After Steve has read all this, there's one last flashback of him and little Bucky watching an old war film of them, of Cap and Bucky out in the field. And I love the dialogue here towards the end. Bucky says, "You gotta learn how to relax, pal." Steve goes, "I see. And Toro said all this, did he?" Bucky goes, "Huh, you're a real cut up, Steve. Sometimes I think if you didn't have me, there wouldn't be a single person in the world who really understood you." And the issue ends on this devastating panel of Steve just with his head buried in his hands.
It hurt.
It's so good. Oh my god. So we get Captain America number 12.
Really like little brother.
Yeah. Oh my god. Beautiful. Fuck. Oh, I love it. So, opening up number 12. I love Lucan's big thing here. He brings the Cosmic Cube to a business meeting.
and just going to auction it off for $100 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly, for the big MacGuffin that can do quite literally anything, feels kind of low.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing. I'm honestly wondering if it feels low to us because we're reading this in 2025 and this was written in 2005 before the 2008 recession. Like, like, I hate keeping to bring this up, but so many decisions are. Because Brubaker's like, hey, corporate America sucks and it's only going to get worse. Maybe we should do something about that.
Jacob.
I think there were probably also...
Am I hearing you right, Jacob? Are you trying to say once again that comic books, these silly little funny books, are political?
Yes!
They have things to do with politics and the people that I vote for?
Yeah, they do.
Fake.
Doubt.
Sounds fake. I don't like it. Fake news.
How have I hosted 91 episodes of this show? All right, so... Steve finally having accepted that Bucky is the Winter Soldier, sort of like regroups with Nick and Sharon, and all this once again leading to even more flashbacks. Brubaker likes his flashbacks.
Well, I will say before that, Steve is like, "No, you don't understand." He doesn't quite say 4 very deadly words. I can fix him, but he heavily implies, like, he started going rogue. Maybe he's still in there. Maybe I can fix him.
Yeah. No, this is absolutely Steve's I can fix him arc.
Yeah, there's also a particular speech bubble where he goes, "He was my partner, damn it," and partner is in bold letters, and we're not helping anyone here.
Helping anyone. But also, I love this flashback where it's like, yeah, so once again, remember, child soldier kind of fucked up. Like,
it's fine.
And it's also like, he's not the only 16-year-old in the army. It's fine.
Yeah.
And also, like, child soldier that was trained by, the I forget what they call it, but in England, it was essentially their version of MI5.
Like the. God, my brain is drawing a blank, but I know exactly what you mean.
I'm trying to find it here because I have it open right now. What is it called? SAS Regiment.
The SAS, that's it. Yeah. Yes. AKA the reason James Bond exists and Christopher Lee and Ian Fleming and Roald
and John Pertwee.
John Pertwee,
the fucking legend. Anyway, but yeah, Sharon is just kind of trying to be here for Steve through all this, and like, I really appreciate that. Like, just people actually trying to support Steve, and like, but also kind of be a voice of reason in that, like, hey, like maybe you can't bring him back because like he's been this way for a long time. Like,
also he already died once.
The line that Sam has in The Winter Soldier, I don't think he's the kind of guy you save, I think he's the kind of guy you stop.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the ideology that Sharon is presenting to Steve here. We then we then see another scene of Lucan trying to auction off the cosmic cube, which it's he shows that he can make the table light up with a cosmic cube. That's nice.
That's fun.
That's all he does essentially.
Yeah. And we really get to see Steve's just determination with more flashbacks of just, fighting in the war, fighting against zombie versions.
The lobotomized Nazi POWs thing,
That's... I mean, it's such a pulp thing, but it's played so straight, it's horrific. Yeah, and it, of course, thematically works with people not being in control. And there's one is shot, and it's but he still starts talking about what about his best friend, and it's oh shit, they were people.
Yeah,
they were people. Yeah. It's harsh. Anyway,
yeah.
Steve,
he gets a little visit. We introduce Sam Wilson, the Falcon.
Wilson, the Falcon.
Yeah, it's nice.
What's my other boys? I always forget too that Sam Wilson in the comics can actually talk to birds. I think they should have transferred that over to the MCU. Let Anthony Mackie have a conversation with a pigeon. He'd kill it.
Hell yeah. Also, just give him the suit. I hate the fucking techified Falcon suits that they've done. It just they all look shit. But also, Sam Wilson is Captain America now, and he actually has a pretty good suit now, so it's whatever.
I was about to say, I like his Captain America suits.
Yeah, his cap suits are pretty good. I always hated every Falcon suit they put him in. He always looked terrible in them. But whatever. I digress. So Captain America number 13, promising cover. We have a big old crossover here.
Can we just say how weird? This is also such a weird of. We know Civil War is coming. We don't entirely know what form it's going to take.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are. I would say at least. I would say there are little hints in the way that Tony and Steve talk to each other throughout this.
But it's mostly they're still good friends. Nothing bad could ever happen to this relationship.
Of course.
I want to say too, one of my favorite lines, I think it's when Steve and Sharon are talking, but it's you've been blaming the gun instead of the person pulling the trigger, because that is me at every fucking MCU writer that treats Bucky like he needs to, because I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think it's really well done in a lot of ways. However, I don't love how they handle Bucky, because it makes it sound like it gives him, how do I put this? I don't know. It's like they act like he was more in control of his actions as the Winter Soldier than he was, kind of a thing.
Which, arguably, you could make the argument for comic Winter Soldier, because he wasn't he was brainwashed.
I understand it.
But MCU Winter Soldier was extra brainwashed with sleeper agent words that literally took over his brain.
You know for a fact that Bucky was canonically tortured with the whole, at the very least, the electroconvulsive stuff, and who knows what else they did to him. But like you said, I can make more of an argument. I still don't think Bucky is responsible for his actions as the Winter Soldier in either. But definitely, I think there's more of an argument for it here in the comics, where he, is more lucid. But it's just, it bothers me. It makes me so mad.
Yeah,
and just how both the showrunner and I think even the Russos, to an extent, they've talked about him in interviews and stuff. How they talk about how oh, Bucky's not inherently innocent. I'm like, yes, fucking is. What do you mean?
I'd love to put up on a wall, Bucky Barnes did nothing wrong. To go with my Jason Todd. To go with my Jason Todd did nothing wrong. Sign.
Genuinely. I am grabbing Kevin Feige by the shoulders and shaking him aggressively. Stop.
It sounds to me like you guys are just all genocide apologists. So anyway, Captain America number 13. So
MCU Lucky didn't even do a genocide.
So, so anyway, little Luke can see at the start here. Definitely teasing our eventual Red Skull reveal, which is nice. What actually happens here though? Having Sam now in this issue is really nice because we get Sam actually like leveling with Steve, and like just a great conversation between the two of them.
Because it's also very much like it's like, hey, we're missing something. Like we agree that we're missing something. We don't know what it is, but like the cosmic cube is involved. Also, you can definitely save Bucky. Like Shield is Shield, and they're going to try to stop you. But no, you can save. Like, how are we going to save the man?
Yeah.
Sam Wilson is such. I wrote it in my notes too. It just says Sam Wilson is such a real one in every universe.
he's just fucking there for Steve, man. It's so great. I love it. Yeah, wonderful stuff. I get another scene of Lucan and Bucky, who seems to have gotten a haircut between issues. His hair is totally different here, right? That's not just me seeing.
Yeah, no, it's totally different.
Totally different.
Possibly even a dye job too. Like
that's possible.
Yeah,
certainly possible.
And it's not like it's a different artist. Like,
it's there's a running joke in MCU Tumblr because like. When Bucky is first introduced in Winter Soldier, he's got like the long hair, but it's like washed and layered and all sorts of stuff. So they're like, is there just like a prep team on Hydra that was making him look good?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely.
Yes,
totally can. Soviets had a prep team.
Totally. You gotta have that aesthetic, guys. But anyway. Yeah, the plan is essentially that we're done with the cube. We're sending the cube away. Mm-hmm. Do not question him. Do not question him. It is a cursed cube. Get rid of it. Mm-hmm.
I can't say I disagreed with him in this.
It's like,
I was sitting there and I was like, I can't say you're wrong there.
Meanwhile, we have Cap, Sam, and joining them alongside this mission is Iron Man. Looking into this warehouse here. Are these are AIM guys, right? No, these are aid guys. Sorry.
These are aid guys.
Yeah.
God, it's like my friend was explaining to me the Team Titans with an M versus the Teen Titans in DC.
There is a difference. I love Team Titans. Team Titans is so underrated. Oh my god, I love Teen Titans. Something that my local comic shop guy got me hooked on a couple like a year or two back. Really fun team.
Wait. You mean team? Like
team? It did very different thing from Teen Titans. Yes.
Did it have
not even the same characters? No.
She was attempting to explain this to me while we were on the way to our local-ish comic book store, and I kept mishearing her, so she had to like slow down and enunciate her M's and her N's every time.
It is an unfortunately easy thing to do.
She loves the Teen Titans with an N, but she hates the Team Titans with an M.
Oh no!
It was really confusing.
Damn, my comic shop got hooked on them like 2 years back, and they're so much fun. I need to read more. Anyway, but yeah, Jacob, this is what our second Iron Man appearance we've ever had on the podcast.
Technically third.
What was the other one?
Technically appeared in Planet and World War Hulk.
Okay, I think we're kind of like combining the Hulk appearances all into one.
Yeah, no, it's like technically a couple of appearances if we want to be. But this is before that, and Tony is still an asshole, but less of.
He's actually helping people in this.
He's less of an irredeemable. Civil War made Tony Stark an irredeemable dick, in a lot of ways.
Like the MCU.
Oh God, I cannot wait to do Iron Man with you. It's going to be so interesting.
It's going to be interesting because
interesting. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
A lot of this issue is fantastic fucking action. Like
so great action. That's actually I'm kind of flipping through. It goes on for a while. It's great. It's
just awesome. Like, hey, you're going to tell us how the fuck we can track a cosmic cube?
Mm-hmm.
So they do.
Yeah.
Now Tony has to leave because he could lose his company because. Like, something like he can't be seen raiding a Cronus facility because, well,
it would be seen as corporate warfare.
Yeah, it's almost
in
like
a very literal sense.
This is also tying into some new Avengers stuff that Brian Michael Bendis was setting up. So,
okay, there's Marvel.
Fun fact: I have an issue of Civil War that's allegedly signed by Brian Michael Bendis.
Oh, well, of the main title, Civil War, or of a tie-in?
I would have to look. It's in storage. I haven't seen it in a hot minute.
It's probably a tie-in that hero, because I don't think Bendis had anything to do with the main event.
You know, because the main event was all Mark Millar.
Anyway, so Tony and Steve have to part ways, and Steve and Sam are going to find Bucky. They're going to the mountains in West Virginia, and going to find Bucky. And our issue ends with Sam and Steve both in Bucky's sights, ready to aimed, and the issue ends with him firing on them. Going into the final issue.
I love when he's aiming up at Steve and Sam. I love the just floating head on the side where it's like, this isn't the first time. Like, it made me chuckle a little. I won't lie.
Luke lives in his head
floating
free.
head.
Yeah.
Well, finally, it's not like there's much else up there.
Finally going into the final issue of today, Captain America number 14. God, I love this cover. It's such a great cover.
There's a reason it's the cover to the Epic Collection.
Yeah. God, it's awesome. So final issue.
Screaming.
It's mostly an action scene. This last issue.
It really
it's great
is.
action. Yeah, it really is. It's great tension. There's great tension here. But again, I think going back to Jacob's point from, good God, nearly 3 hours ago, that we're not so much building up to an actual like conclusion or resolution to the Steve and Bucky tension, as much as we are just a point where we can stop temporarily until we go into the next story arc.
And the action is really great building of tension. You eventually have S.H.I.E.L.D. arriving.
Mm-hmm.
You have Steve and Bucky doing a one-on-one. Very much this whole "you don't know me" until we can actually get to that cube.
Mm-hmm.
Give Bucky all of his.
Oh God! How great is the two-page spread where Bucky gets his fucking memories back? Oh God! It's so good. Oh,
I will say I put in my notes. I said, "Damn, Steve really just speed ran giving Bucky PTSD."
Yeah, for real. You can tell that shit hurts.
And then there's that great immediate follow-up of, "You should have just killed me."
Yeah.
God,
and you can see like the tears immediately welling up in Bucky's eyes, like just ugh.
And like I get it, I get where he's coming from, but also, dear God, that hurt.
Yeah. He grabs the cosmic cube. It
and he's like, "You should. This is the thing that all started this. You should disappear." And then it blows him up, and it's like, "Oh, we don't think he." It's like Steve is convinced he's dead, or no, Sharon's convinced he's dead. Steve is like, "No, he's out there somewhere," and it's like, surprise, he's out there somewhere, and it's
the comic confirms for us that Bucky is still.
And it's a great penultimate page. That could have been the. My problem with this is again, it's we don't get a resolution, and it feels like. I don't know what comes next, but it feels like Bucky may not be a part of the next arc at all. Like,
he's gonna be there. He's gonna be in the next volume. Don't worry.
Okay, because I was like, wait, is this a Civil War setup? Is like,
don't worry. Here's the thing. Our Bucky setup will have significantly less to do with Civil War than it does the immediate follow up in Red Menace. Don't worry.
Oh, good, because
I know we're thinking about it. I don't think Bucky's in Civil War at all. At least not in the main event. He's not in the main event at all. So
I was about to say, I thought he was for a little bit.
It might be a tie-in. Might be a tie-in.
I thought after Steve gets got, he's there for like 5 seconds.
I want to say it's a tie-in. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've read Civil War, to be fair.
I know he ends up Captain America after Civil War.
Yeah, we're talking like so we're talking like Civil War happens. the story arc called Death of Captain America happens, which is like a 2-year long arc. Like that thing published for 20 plus issues. Only then is Bucky Captain America. So the run has a while to go before all that happens. I repeat for you, Jacob, this is our Jeff Johns Green Lantern of Marvel.
I was going to say, now that you say it, I'm like, this is going to be our Jeff Johns Green Lantern thing.
It's
I have, I collect comic books. I am not very good at getting them in like order, but I have some of the like Brubaker Captain America run, and it's like issue 619.
So the way do you know? I'm not sure if you know about legacy numbering.
Yeah. Oh god.
So thankfully, Brubaker Captain America run is not 600 issues. Essentially, what happens eventually is what comics like to do sometimes, and I have so many mixed feelings on legacy numbering, is when they get to a significant issue, not in like the run itself, but in overall Captain America publishing, they'll be like, we're just going to start numbering the issues from the overall 600th issue of Captain America.
Yeah.
We're just going to go from there. So
what in the name of God?
Luckily, Detective Comics and Action Comics are closest to being truly having those giant over 1,000 issue numbers.
Yeah, the only breakup really being the New 52,
which was such a dumb decision. Like I get it, but like no, you should just kept those numbers going because it's action and detective, and you didn't break them, DC.
But no, I mean, to be fair, the Brubaker run as a whole, I think, is near 100 issues, somewhere around there. So it's still really fucking long.
I was going to say I believe it's 4 omnis. I think
that sounds right.
I mean, and those probably too,
they probably also include his Winter Soldier run, which is also
because I have some of his Winter Soldier run.
Yeah, that's a great run. I love that run. Anyway, where the comic actually ends is the last page thing that I already spoiled for everyone listening to this. Red Skull is when the Red Skull died. What actually happened was his consciousness was transferred into Lucan's body, and now Lucan and Red Skull are sharing a brain.
Yes.
Oh my God, they really imagined him.
Truly amazing. Oh God, and that's that. Nearly 3 hours in the can. All right. We did do some adapted material for this. Jacob, you watched 2 movies for this.
I did. 2 movies I had seen before. Yeah, it's really nice when you go back to early MCU stuff where the films were just allowed to be films. Like, dude, First Avenger especially is like,
dude. First Avenger has so much fucking style, dude. Like, oh my God, it's awesome.
I love First Avenger. Like,
it's such a great film.
I'm a big history nerd, and I like World War II history, but not in the way that like the worst guy you knew in high school was. Like, I find it interesting, but not in the way that, not in the gross way. So, like, Captain America 1, Winter Soldier will always be my favorite, but Cap 1 feels like it was made for me specifically.
I mean, it's also just got a stellar cast. Obviously, Chris Evans is an actor who post MCU really deserves better things than what he's been getting. Like,
what more gray slop with the Russo brothers?
He got to be in Knives Out. Damn it,
he was fantastic in Knives Out.
And you'd think that would be the start of a long and beautiful career, and then it isn't.
Yeah.
Jenna Coleman is in it for like 2 fucking minutes.
Jenna Coleman, I love it.
Playing an American?
Yeah.
Stanley
is she on the date with Steve or Bucky? I want to say it's with Bucky, right?
Yeah,
she's with Bucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of ambiguous, but I'm pretty sure she's with Bucky.
It's also the film that properly sets up like the Avengers actually quite well, while also standing on its own as a film very nicely.
Yes.
Joe Johnston is the one who directed it, and he's not like he's not like one of the great directors. He's a director with a style, and like
great style. Great, I don't know. I like it.
He knows how to make a film, and he can direct competently. Whereas the directors of the other film can't.
They were just handed a great script, unfortunately.
But
I
still,
always think it's funny though when I go back to Cap 1 and they show like, Steve before he gets the serum versus even if you just like look at that versus the flashback scene in Winter Soldier, you can see how far special effects have come because pre-serum Steve in Cap 1 just straight up has Funko Pop proportions.
That's true. That's true.
He just looks like a Funko Pop.
But all things we can hit on the Russo brothers all we want, but the Winter Soldier is still a great fucking film.
Winter Soldier's great.
Great film.
It's got some problems.
It just convinced them that they were good directors, and
again, just bad directors that happen to be in the right place at the right time, and
absolutely.
There are definitely some sequences where it's like, oh, you can really tell some of their problems because of how many cuts there are, like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even then, like Cap throwing his shield.
Also, Winter Soldier does not have the all-star cast that First Avenger does, but Winter Soldier has, of all people, Robert fucking Redford.
Yeah, Robert Redford. Robert Redford
is the bad guy. It's great. It's great. I love
Robert Redford.
There's an interview with Sebastian Stan that goes around a lot where apparently he was like so in awe of Robert Redford the first time he was on set that he ran into a refrigerator, and honestly, I can't blame him. I would be too.
Yes, that is a normal reaction to Robert Redford, and
absolutely a legend, an actual legend. Oh God, what a great time.
Also has Kobe Smulders getting to actually do stuff.
She's wonderful. She's wonderful.
Anthony Mackie is allowed to be a character. Like
I think Anthony Mackie always turns in, I think, the best performance he can when he's playing the Falcon / Captain America.
Here's the thing. Like so many cast members of the MCU could be proper movie stars.
Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, people could hit on Anthony Mackie all they want, but like Anthony Mackie is, of all people in the MCU, actually like a champion for like bringing back the movie star in the way that we used to think of it. Like he actually, have you ever watched interviews with him? Like he understands.
I've seen them. It's like he gets that like he's replaceable. He just needs that money.
Yeah.
Who's out here hating on Anthony Mackie? I want names.
Oh, I know people hate on Anthony Mackie because he's like rude to fans in public, but really it's just him like actually setting boundaries, and it's actually a good thing. So
that's fair.
It's yeah.
Yeah, no, I like Anthony Mackie. I think he's fun, and I'm glad that he's getting more, even though I still haven't seen Brave New World, and there's a very big reason why I haven't seen Brave New World, if you catch my drift.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I think he's going to be a good Captain America, and I'm really excited to see what they do with him.
I like,
and also I need to pirate Brave New World.
I was going to say, is it the Israel thing? I think it's the Israel thing.
That's an understandable. That's an understandable thing. I saw Brave New World. I have a lot of problems with it. I like Anthony Mackie. I love Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford actually turned. Of all people, Harrison Ford turns in a great fucking MCU performance.
Which is weird.
I don't have problems.
Anyway.
It was really funny. Like, Harrison Ford and Patti LuPone are not two people I expected to be in Marvel properties ever. And here we are.
Here we are. And they both crushed it. Patti LuPone especially. Oh my god.
There's a reason I want to see Agatha all along. Well, there are multiple reasons. Patti LuPone is in fact one of them.
That's fair. That's
fair.
I have seen some interviews where they're trying to like get Patti LuPone to talk Marvel shit, and it's like she's just Patti LuPone. Amazing. So it's like no.
Jacob, we'll trade login information. I'll give you my Disney Plus. You give me your Dropout.
I already have Disney Plus because my family pays for it. So, but I will give you my Dropout. That's okay. This
episode has officially just hit the 3-hour mark. I'm cutting this shit off right now. All right, Kestrel, it has been fantastic having you on this episode. I liked having you on so much. Guess what? You're coming back on the next one. Let's talk Captain America: Red Menace next time. Yeah. It's issues 15 through 21 of Captain America, plus the Captain America 65th anniversary special. Fantastic stuff. I'm very excited to talk about all of that next time on the podcast,
which will be a shorter episode than this one.
Most definitely. We're going from 13 issues to 8 issues. God, I hope it's shorter.
And we won't be talking about films.
We will be talking about. Will we?
We won't be.
Won't be. Oh, sorry. I think
because Captain America: Civil War adapts a big Marvel event, and Brave New World is
that for when we eventually do Civil War. So. And Brave New World is an adaptation of a Hulk story and a bad one.
Yeah.
So
if I had a nickel for every Hulk story that they adapted in not a Hulk film, I have a lot of nickels, honestly. Like, they keep doing it. Like, it's not weird. They just keep doing it. It's just a trend.
How many nickels would you have? I'm curious.
I mean, I know it's a rights thing. I know it's a rights thing, but it still pisses me off.
At least 2. I would have at least 2, but I think there could be more. Because
we're talking Ragnarok and Brave New World. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say Ragnarok.
Fucking Ragnarok. I'm not getting back into another Thor Ragnarok rant. Anyway, let's do promotions. Kestrel, you new to the show. I don't know if you have anything to promote or would want to promote anything. Do you?
I'm Kestrel's dash feather on Blue Sky, and I'm Bucky's arm and Rio's dagger with dashes in between all of them on Tumblr.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, not really. I want to get into making video essays on YouTube, but those don't exist yet.
I will absolutely watch those when you make those. Yeah. Jacob, what do you have going on right now?
As always, I have my blog where at the time of this, I should have put out a review of the first BBC Books released Short Trips Doctor Who book, as well as, of course, I am reviewing Star Trek: The Next Generation. I am getting so close to the end of season 1.
We're recording this on Saturday. You still don't have your review up for Arsenal of Freedom, Jacob.
Yeah, I haven't finished Arsenal of Freedom. There's a reason for that.
That's fair.
I was looking at apartments. Me trying not to be homeless was more important than Star Trek, Joey.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. Objectively,
you have so much time until you're homeless, though. Anyway, I'm also reviewing Star Trek on the channel on Bludgeon Studios with in video reviews with my brother. I'll be doing those weekly. Also, if you can join our Patreon at the Ensign tier, you can watch those videos a week in advance. We have our video on Symbiosis up already, which is a Star Trek does a drug PSA, and it's a time. Also on the channel, speaking of me and my brother, we do R2BD, Star Wars show. We talk about TV shows, books, comics, things like that. We're doing a review of Andor Season 1 before Season 2 comes out, and we're going to review Andor Season 2 when that comes out. And also, because Star Wars loves to do surprise announcements, we're of course also going to do an episode on Tales of the Underworld. So all kinds of fun things coming up. What else? God, I can't think. The podcast. This podcast is great, I think. We also do a spin-off of this podcast where we talk about current comics coming out. We cover Superman by Joshua Williamson, Wonder Woman by Tom King, Batman: The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween by Jeff Loeb and not Tim Sale. It's not by Tim Sale. I'm sad. We also cover The Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone. We also recently covered the crossover event for Uncanny which is X-Manhunt, which I already promoted this episode, so that's all out there, I'm sure. I think that's it. That's all the promotions. Yes. God, I'm getting worse at this, I swear. Our link trees and socials and all that wonderful stuff will be in the description below. You can follow us all wherever you want to follow us. Enjoy our personalities outside of this, I'm sure. I mostly just promote things. Subscribe to the channel, Bludgeon Studios. Any support there is greatly appreciated. Wherever you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., whatever your podcast supplier of choice is, be sure to leave a rating and subscribe wherever you're listening to us on. Once again,
leave some comments. We'll respond.
Leave some comments. If you comment on things, we will read them out. We haven't had a chance to yet because nobody's been commenting. So when you comment on things, I'll read them out. That's the deal. All right, I think that actually does it.
God, we're so unhinged.
Thank you all so much for listening. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklater
and Kestrel.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.